Alright everyone, thank you so much for joining us this wonderful Thursday evening for some D&D on Lionhead Gaming. As we are getting ready to play Song of Rapture, episode 42. It has been quite some time. Ooh, thank you for the resub, Johnny Thunder. 21 months, amazing support. Thank you so much for helping us out. I'll put that towards picking up a new copy of the Creature Codex. Nifty. So thank you all for joining us, and without further ado, Monsieur Omen, what do you got for us tonight?
Alright, we begin off at sort of a strange sight. Our heroes standing in the mouth of a high mountainous cave, looking out across the distance, and where they were once expecting to see a scape of snow and ice, they instead see stone, with rivers of water pouring from their heights and across the land below and out into the surrounding lake. But the question is, how did this happen? Once on the frozen hellscape of Stroma, the players now stand at a thawing strip of land, hopeful for life. Can someone tell me what happened on a very last episode of Song of Rapture?
Where did we start off last time around? So last time around, we got done climbing up in these damn mountains. Sort of not really sure where we were going, but there was somewhat of a lined out path ahead of us, so we just kept going deeper. Thankfully, Clyde was able to find a trail, even if it meant sort of going around what looked like a damn landslide, walking across a frozen river. And as we went, we even noticed creatures with frozen all around us. Like they'd drawn to this place, or maybe it came from this place. Head further up, even finding a cave with a ton of them bat things we saw on the boat, and even more of them shambling people turned undead. Thankfully, with Luna's magic and, well, I guess Clyde's magic too, able to sneak past them, even distract them a bit and get through. Heading up further, and found an old camp that, well, before we could rest, there were some more undead around. We thought we'd clear it out, and in doing so, bigger creatures found us. Like gigantic monkeys, but, well, obviously not alive. They were broken up, bones showing holes in the bodies, and there were a lot of them. But thankfully there was something about that place. Something that, I don't know, called out to Greg. I was able to force a lot of them away. We were able to cut down the rest, and it was a hell of a fight, but came out alright, surprisingly enough. Those monstrous things couldn't stop us, so after a little bit of a break, found a little path up to the north, although it seemed pretty dangerous, sort of skirting around the edge of the mountains up to a little overhang. So before going up there, we took a break. Greg felt sort of good about himself. As Samantha checked out the place a little bit more, thankfully we were able to rest well enough, though. She said there was a hole up on top of that little overhang. Apparently she had climbed up there, thanks to some climbing equipment she brought with her. Seeing into the future or something. And she even secured our way, so we didn't have to climb our asses around. Most likely falling off the cliffside. So, yeah, we rested, heading on up there. Found a little cave, and started to notice that in that place there was scrawling on the walls. Not really anything devious, more like children's drawings. Like a kid took a rock and just started drawing pictures. It was sort of all over the place. Looked old though, and then we found a big old hole in the ground. It was dark and deep. Luna said that the bottom of it was filled with bones. A ton of bones. A lot more than should have been there. But apparently from that book she got, maybe that was the place we were supposed to go. That hole in the middle of the mountains. So, Gregor, for some reason, didn't really feel staunted by this. He wanted to dive on in. Clyde I decided, led the charge into that damn place. And then we discovered different types of drawings down below. Stomping through bones at the bottom of this hole, saying that it opened up into complex of caves. The childish drawings from up above turned into those damn stars and circles from what we saw in the town. Drawn and only really assume is blood, leading deeper in. Clyde found some foot tracks that leading our way, so we followed. And soon enough, Greg started hearing voices. A whisper in the back of his head, taunting him about how the cold was seeping in, how it hungered for him. Just taunts, really. Damn thing, as we got closer, I'm sure it was just afraid of us. Knew what we had done. Cut down so many of its little creatures, spreading its plague. I'm sure it was just afraid of what was coming for it. So we charged on in. Found a strange sight. It was a sort of library of sorts. Books all over the damn place. Tried to pick up some, and it must have been ancient, because they were just falling apart at our fingertips. And we got to the middle of that place. Large circle, star in the middle of it. And then some things started stirring. Creatures around looked like ancient corpses. People worn down to the bone. Skulls started to move, started to talk to us. For a second, I could have sworn even Samantha was chiming into what they were saying. I can't even remember what in the world they were on about. Just some fountain, some hunger that it was spreading, and we gonna be part of it, I guess. Oh, speak of madman. And then we walked in the middle of that circle, and the thing appeared. Huge creature, clothed in robes. It looked human, but it floated off the ground. No feet. It larger than any damn man I ever saw. Could have stood 15, 18 feet tall or so. Disgusting mouth, gnashing jaws, no lips to cover them. It told us about how, well, it hungered. And how the hunger was spreading, and, well, after it started to approach us, Samantha wasn't having none of that, apparently. I don't think she liked being toyed with. Someone using her voice to speak their words. So she lit it up, and obviously Clyde was quick to bring it up also. Arrow was actually loose first. Smitty dived on in, and we started fighting. Thing, obviously not alone. Called on more of the undead. Men had fallen by its hand, or maybe even much before that. Creatures walking on four legs, and more of the talking ones we saw outside. Long ass tongues. We fought them off well enough. Some of us getting bit, but we are making good headway. Even thanks to Persis' magic, burn up that thing, and it fell into pieces. But creatures around it didn't stop. Gigantic thing even came out of the darkness. Looked like I don't know, like a troll or something. Lanky ass arms, big old claws. Although, just like everything else, cut up like a skeleton as a rotten corpse. I think if I was able to hold it off while Samantha had an idea. That circle apparently was calling magic or something. Because it did. And that thing came back to life, reforming itself and tacking back at us. So Samantha even took the magic that our old friend Paracelsus left us. A scroll. Something to dispel the magic of it. And her and Persephone, using that magic together, was able to tear that thing away. And apparently that did it. We didn't even need to kill off the rest of the creatures. Once that strange seal was broken, they all just, well, not so much fell to pieces, but just stopped. Just went back to being the corpses they should have been. We had a bit of look around after that. Not really sure what exactly to do next. Trying to figure out what happened to that little girl that disappeared so long ago, but thinking about that big old pit of bones, it's not unheard of that she may have just fell. And maybe that horrible accident so long ago could have started all this. Hard to tell, really. But we looked around, even found some interesting items of sorts. And after we sort of gathered ourselves, back through the bones, back up that pit we go.
Good shit. Gregory, give yourself some DM inspiration.
Thank y'all.
As indeed, the party has finally pulled themselves out of this deep pit of blood, stone, and bone, and entered the maw of the cave where they entered. Although, as stated before, it's not the same sight they once beheld. It was not a world of ice, but a world of stone and rushing water. As you guys now stand at the entrance, overlooking the cliffside of which you scaled, the journey that you made across the island of Stroma, and you just see this torrent of water pouring across the stonework out into the lands, flooding the now dead forests, and spilling out off into the horizon where you can see the edge of the lake now. The fog is still thinning ever so slightly, but it's much less dense than when you first saw it. It's almost gone at this point. You can see the actual lake, the Heart Basin, out in front of you, and though you can't see the edge of Mobia where you returned, you know it lies beyond waiting for you.
Look at that. Damn.
It's breathtaking.
It's warm.
And I'm over it. Let's go.
Yeah, alright.
As Luna, the last one to pull yourself out of the cave, you're still a little sore, a little exhausted from exerting all of your magical force. Seemed like you were sort of the star of this trek up the mountain, exerting basically magic every moment of the way to keep your allies alive up until the very end. And now that you're dragging yourself to the edge and ready just to get out of this place, you feel this breeze suddenly press against your back, and it blows your hair forward and just carries its way out of the mouth of the cave, as it just feels like this constant wind is blowing and rushing past you. And every so often it sort of condenses like a swirl or a stream of mist that flies past your ear, and you hear something of a familiar sound. A sound that you've become somewhat accustomed to your relatively dark upbringing. A soft hush breath. As it washes out into the air and seems to fade away. And one by one, more begin to pour out until there's dozens of them, like this constant breeze, not cold and foreboding, but warm and relaxing. As it seems like, it almost feels like a swarm of voices are just swimming from the mouth of this cave and filling the air before fading away.
Something that happens the whole entire time. It's really fucking annoying.
It's happening a lot while you're standing there. It's like standing in the way of a soul stream or something. Like as soon when you're standing in the mouth of the cave, it's just life surrounding you. So.
Just gonna start walking away.
Okay.
What time of day is it?
Now that the fog is finally clearing and you can see the blue sky above you, you can make out the silver line of the sun behind most of this still sparse in clouds. It actually looks like it's about midday. You guys left pretty early in the morning, and the trek up the mountains, thanks to a combination of Clyde's expert tracking and Luna's magic, only took you guys like no more than an hour. Your time in the cave was a little long, and your trek going around searching through bodies and going through the treasure took some time, but you started off in the morning, and now you find yourself in the afternoon. Out noonish, maybe? With the sun right over your head, Javen.
That feels nice.
Persephone's staring over Stroma, and she's taking as much as she can in, because she wants to go back and she wants to show Lucasta, her home now that everything's settled. There's still no life, right? There's literally still no life. It's just stony. Or can she see
Give me a perception check.
green of treetops? Anything? Perception checks.
Persephone,
Not advantage.
what are you looking
Okay.
for?
It's 14.
Yeah, your vision is relatively sharp, Persephone. You're good at looking off in the distance and picking up on just the slightest little details. You scan over these mountains and cliffs, looking for signs of anything green. All you see, though, is just this gray mass. You see the tall reaches of trees that now, well, you can see snow is melting off of them and pouring off into the ground, but they look like they might be pines of sorts, but they're all grayed. They've been under winter for far too long. You're not really seeing much of life on this island.
I'm just thinking about how Stroma must have been this flourishing island full of green life, and even though we've ended its winter, I think it's already taken its toll, and maybe with some time, it'll be back to what it was.
Well, I mean, it'll never be back to exactly what it was. But time heals many wounds.
Yeah. Purse, you had some Liscus with you, right?
I have the seeds of moly. The
Why
only
don't you
Liscus-
plant them? I mean, you
Yeah.
could be the spark of the regeneration of the island. That's
Yeah.
kind of a big deal.
I mean, Liscus used to thrive here, right? I guess I'll do the same.
That's what I was thinking.
Well,
Well,
stop thinking and start doing.
Is the
let's get
cave
down from
like...
this here mountain.
Yeah. I do have a spell I used with the Liscus plant when I was growing it in Oakwell, where I use my magic to bring some more life into the earth, but that takes about a whole day.
Well, I mean, are we in a big hurry to get anywhere?
I wouldn't think so. Maybe let's get closer to the shore, because I'm sure the lake's been affected, and this magic can go off quite a distance. So maybe I can help not only the island, but the lake as well.
I mean, we got to be careful, though. There's probably a lot of flooding going on. The river looks a bit high or a bit fast. Don't
All
really
the
think
ice
away.
melting.
That's right.
Hopefully that landslide won't be as much of a problem with all the snow gone.
Or it could be even more trouble.
That's true. Hey,
Well,
we don't know till we get there.
nothing living on this island except. I mean, you guys nothing living on the island.
Oh, we're living.
Yeah, and
And I don't know, I think I see a
The other
bird
guy.
there.
That might be one of the geese I summoned to get rid of the bats.
Oh,
You just see the single dead bird.
Oh no! I actually, never mind!
but how did it stay up there for so long? That's interesting.
Magic!
Oh, magic is powerful.
Yeah, Clyde Palace. Took me a
yeah,
moment to
that's
remember his name.
Yeah, I could have.
Maybe I had to check my notes. Maybe I don't know. Whatever.
I
Wait,
thought
did you take
Peleus would...
notes, Gregory?
Did Peleus
Just
go to
in my
the
head,
boat? Wait, did Peleus go to the boat, or did he decide he was going to stay in Pelcoa?
So you said do the boat.
Can we stay the boat?
Yeah, you
Oh
look at Peleus
hell!
thinking he was
Weren't
in the boat.
we halfway out to sea
What was
because
that,
of the
God?
ice?
And yeah, you recall Peleus went to the boat. You guys
He
offered
laid
him.
anchor, so he should still be there.
Yeah, but how are we going to get back to the boat?
Oh,
We're just going to swim?
no!
Yeah.
I mean,
I
some of us can swim.
I'm a strong swimmer.
I
Well,
could
then just
swim.
bring the boat to the
yeah.
land.
Yeah, I could swim to
Safety
the
will stay
boat.
on the land.
I could
Yeah.
swim to the boat and bring it back to the shore.
Cats in water.
I think it'll take a couple of us, but yeah.
I don't
Samantha,
think I
you-
want to swim in a
I don't
soup
think
of
that you
dead
could.
things.
Exactly. It's gonna be stinky and smelly.
I don't mind
Be
the
old
dip.
fish, ain't there?
And Persephone, I don't think you can lift the anchor by yourself.
It was
Why
on
not?
some sort of winch mechanism, and elves are not known for their strength. I'm sure it has some way to compensate between her and hopefully Peleus.
Yeah, it's an elfin boat. Maybe I can just figure it out.
Can you move the thing?
We're
know-
gonna be stuck on this island forever.
I know Clyde could, and I thought Samantha was learning a bit, but I don't get me trying to steer the boat.
That ability of yours that allows us to walk across the water, Persephone.
No, I wasn't ready to do that today. Again.
Well, then it just means that we have to stay on the island a wee bit longer.
How far out do we remember the boat to be?
70 miles.
We were a ways out. We were like miles out.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. The island of Stroma is actually not that big. When you guys like walked from the boat to the ice to get to the shore, you only walked like about half a mile in total.
I
Yeah, the
didn't
island is
swim.
you guys. The island is only about like at its longest about 12 miles from one end to the other. You guys are going, and that's the long ways. Wide ways, you guys only take about like 7 miles.
I thought we were like
Tiny
2
island.
miles out. Fuck.
No.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
maybe I can ask my Fae friends to help us get to the boat without having to touch the water.
Catch each
I
other
mean, I
to
don't
animals.
Well, yeah, I could do that too, but I don't think I can do something that can fly. Which is why I said I'd swim to the boat.
Oh.
Yes, if your Fae friends would be so kind as to get us back to the boat, that would be most appreciated.
Exactly, and not have to touch the stinky water.
Sounds
Well,
like a
you
plan.
get fish out of your hair. It just lingers.
That doesn't sound pleasant at all.
No, people will be like, oh, what's that smell? And I'll be like, it's Persephone and her fucking dead fishy hair.
What? Why would you just tell people that?
I don't want them to think it's me.
Yeah, I was sort of up for the idea for a swim, but not anymore.
Yeah, now when you mention it.
But you don't want to just go swimming for half a mile through gelatinous fish carcasses.
It's probably like slime.
Yep, just
Like a
getting worse.
bear.
Just getting worse.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Why
Purse
there's no
wants to
hurry
do
get
it,
down there.
See,
if
it was
Purse wants to do her thing, though, I mean, we could just,
I could do,
go to the beach. You could grow your seeds, and then in the morning we could go.
or we could get to the boat, get it close to shore. I mean, if you guys want to sleep out on the shore, that's fine.
There's nothing wrong with sleeping on the beach. I'm sure Samantha will love the sand.
It depends.
I mean, it's that or being on a stinky boat.
That'd be
I mean, if we're near the
water.
beach, then we're probably going to smell the sea anyway.
I mean, I wouldn't want Peleus to just sit on the boat for the rest of the day just watching us.
No,
Well, then
it's
you
fine.
go and
He can
swim
sit
out
by
there and get
himself.
him. And then you can bring the boat back to shore. And be all stinky.
I could also just ask my Fae friends to give me wings.
Can they also help you with the
Wings?
boat? Clyde, can you move the boat with 2 people?
I would be able to move the boat with 2 people. It's pretty evenly balanced. The keel is good.
All right.
Wait, can you fly me out there? Can your Fae friends give me wings?
Probably. I ask really nicely.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good. I don't want to touch the
going to
water.
the
It
boat as long
stinks.
as I don't have to swim through that muck.
What do you mean?
Are we going through the fucking cave with the millions of gray bitten creatures. Is that on our path back, or are we
Of course it's
taking an
on our
alternative
path
route?
back, Persephone, but they're all dead.
I wanted to know if God had a description of what all the dead things look like.
I mean, currently you guys are standing on the entrance of this cave. I'm not sure if you've climbed down or headed back down the path you're going on.
Oh, I thought we were
So-
heading back.
Can we like
So-
really move, guys? Like this is kind of annoying.
Yeah, we climbing. We going.
So if you are moving and you're going down through the cave, you descend down a little easier this time with the ice on the mountain cliff's face. And strangely enough, as you look down with the water now rushing, you can see now the ground you step on is wet. Where you were once on this pile, this snowbank, where you had your fight against the great bitten creatures. You see the bodies and the remnants of the camp that you once saw before is now being washed away. Seems like all of them are gone now. The creatures you fought have been basically brushed off the mountain, and now that's all that's left is basically rock and stains of blood that have seeped into the stone. And if you're still heading down through the cave tunnel, yeah, as you enter, maybe not too far from the entrance, Luna, your vision carried pretty far in this cave. You're able to see through the darkness that no one else can, and just about 200 feet from the entrance, you see just this pile of bodies and this flooding of blood that pools around them. This is where you saw the dozens of the gray-bitten creatures and the bats that, well, by the time you left them, were warring with one another. Now they sort of make this massive pile, almost reaching the ceiling of this high, expansive cave, just piled on top of each other, as if they died fighting one another.
Ah, fake.
Kind of looks
Look at
like you'd
all
have to
these
go
creatures.
over them.
Y'all,
Gregory, could you like clear away?
yeah, I guess. Yeah, we think them bat things are gone.
They were dead, weren't they?
You see, like with if you have your light out or your torch out, Greg, and you're illuminating this place, you'd see these large leathery bodies just draping, almost like encapsulating some of these other corpses as they're just laying on the ground, splayed out, mouths wide open, eyes empty of any life.
Guess I'm dead too. Hell. I mean, it'll take me a while to move this stuff.
Samantha, can't you just like blast them and like push them out the way?
Oh. That's a good
They just have a
idea.
massive pile in the way.
Like they're not in a giant single pile, but they were fighting one another before they died. That's pretty evident. And so with the bats coming down from the ceiling and the creatures piling up trying to catch onto the corpses and eat them and wave off their attackers, it's like about, it's hard to say unless you got like a little boost to look over, but maybe about like 40 feet or so along this tunnel, there's sort of this almost 25 foot tall mound of a hill of corpses. You guys could climb over them easily enough, but you'd be climbing over dead things.
Luna, you
want to climb over dead things?
steered us through all this. I did not realize there were that many of these damn things.
God.
Luna, I'm so sorry.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't fight all these before we went down. We would have
Yeah,
been pretty fit.
We
I
were
was
so
thinking,
worried
what
about
if
the
someone-
fit. We didn't think about all the other dead bodies on there.
Well, they'd probably all wash off into the lake as well. Get
Oh,
caught up in the thaw.
Reach out with a hand, thankfully gloved, and just try to see what the consistency of like this bodies are. Are they like all old and decrepit and dried out, or are they just like weirdly moist?
They're stiff. It feels like you're poking a corpse that's been dead for quite some time. Hasn't quite gone through the rot you would expect. It seems like it's just more very rigor mortis. The bats, strangely enough, if you mess with one of their wings, while somewhat stiff, still have some flexibility to them, as if the leather is still somewhat soft. You could sort of possibly push them out of the way, and if you have enough weight and force behind your movements to sort of flop them away. But again, if you're trying to move them all out of the way, it might take some time.
And this goes down how far? You said like 40 feet long?
About 40 feet.
And it seems to go
Like a bucket.
Does it seem to go downhill?
Not particularly. A slight, like there is sort of a slight like incline, but not enough to where you think you could like roll them down. Like it was like a steady rise up when you guys were walking along the cliffside.
Alright, matey, let's start dragging the corpses out of the way.
I guess there's no helping it.
You said it looks like it's just a mound like this.
Yeah, it rises up. It's not quite even or consistent. It's like there's some bodies here, and then it looks like where they were biting and tearing into each other, and so it's rising up in the middle. So there's this big hill. So it like slopes up and then slopes down.
Does it hit the ceiling?
It gets close, but the ceiling was tall enough for these large bat creatures to take roost. So you could it basically be like if you want to get through them, just kind of walk over them unless you don't want to touch them. It'd probably be like 15 feet or so between your head and the ceiling itself.
15 feet, that's more than enough clearance. Yeah, you just see Samantha just start climbing up to the top of this mound and then just walking along the top of it.
But what if you fall through?
You're just gonna walk on top of them.
They're dead, and I do not plan to put them all to rest. Their spirits will find their way. Their bodies are desecrated, and far too desecrated.
Hauling out one of these big ass things. It's a oh, God. Yeah, Purse, it's hell, it's sort of gruesome, but it's gonna take me and Clyde all damn day to get this thing.
Well, you guys better work faster.
Fuck
Just walk
this.
off the top of it. It's not the end.
Yeah, why don't you summon your Fey friends now, Stephanie?
I'm just gonna climb up the wall. Get around him. Matey, just burrow through.
Mitty like tries to run forward and bumps into this mound. You just see a couple of the bodies topple, but they don't seem to move too much. It's like a wall of corpses in front of him. So he starts sort of paddling his legs across them until he gets at the top next to Samantha, and then sort of casually trots down the other side.
Yeah, I'm just continuing to walk. If nothing happens to me.
Again, these things are pretty stiff. It's not like you're walking on bones. It's like they're a little stiff enough to offer some friction, not too wobbly beneath your feet, and just walking on a pile of corpses.
Yeah, I'm gonna hesitantly start crawling up the mound of corpses.
Persephone, hurry up!
And you need a hand or something, Luna?
No, I'm fine. Just don't touch dead bodies right now.
It's really gross!
Persephone, you're gonna have to buy me new shoes.
Persephone, no, don't put your hand there!
Mind over matter. And just starts walking atop the corpses.
Can't believe she just touched a bat's butt. What the hell?
I'll start climbing up as well.
One by one, people start to carefully take their steps along this mound, following after Samantha, now Mitty. As you guys go over this mound, and again, strangely enough, it's not too hard to walk over. It's just the smell, and well, you don't want to look down for too long, otherwise you might see some twisted faces staring up at you. But eventually you make it over this mound, and you get past the bodies. You still see a few more scattered against the walls. You see one of these gray bitten creatures, its body basically barely containing any flesh. It looks like several teeth had just bitten into it and tore away at whatever was left of it. But eventually Luna still leading the way with your sharp vision and far-reaching gaze. You see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you feel that warmth of a breeze reaching into the cave once more as you make it out back onto the cliffside. Closer to the ground this time, able to see down below you where you first entered this place, the river. Although it's not silent anymore, not a frozen stretch of water. It's rushing and it is full. And you can see bits and pieces of maybe like plant life, things that have been pulled away by this rushing water, flowing down through the island and out to the lake beyond.
That's gonna give me some nightmares. Oh, God.
Let's get to the end of the corpse mound and just hop off casually.
Alright, let's keep going.
Yeah.
with the party pressing on, you find it easier to navigate this area, not just with Clyde's expert, tracking and making sure you guys are taking the right path. It just seems like the ground is, less slippery, less frost clinging to the earth, less snow catching your steps.
Wait, is it really fucking muddy?
A little bit, although it seems like, strangely enough, the ground it's moist, but it's not quite sunken into the earth. Whatever, freezing water had clung to it didn't really reach into the earth itself. It just sort of washed away. The only problem you find now is as you continue along the path you came from, you see the path you took up the cliffside begin to slope down, and it rushes into water.
Ooh.
Yeah, glad you ride it. I'm certainly up.
As you do realize, on your path here, it seemed like you had to take the river itself while it was frozen. And now you find, well, the river is no longer frozen. It is thawed and it is full and flowing.
Well, suppose we can just jump right in the river.
I don't think you jump right into the river, Clyde. I
I
know
said
you.
don't jump into the river. It was a joke, Persephone.
Oh, thank God.
We'd fucking die. We'd die in like 6 minutes.
I'm about to say, it's running fast and half.
How wide across does this river seem?
If you remember before, it was about, from one side to the other. Looked like it would have reached about 20 feet. Now it's a little higher, and the mountains sort of slip away from each other, so it looks like it might be about 25 feet from one side to the other.
Did we need to simply cross it to get back down, or did we walked up the river, didn't we?
Yes, you
We,
did.
we were on the river.
I remember it was about it wasn't too long, only a few minutes walking along it before you found the path. You're walking from this one side of it, went around to the middle, and then went back to this other path you found. You don't know if the other path's still waiting for you, but it could be there. Just now you have this sort of rushing gout of water, this rushing beneath you.
Then I have to find another place to cross.
Kind of looking further up the river, does it look like there's anywhere that it seems to narrow off or connect to some other ground, maybe?
No, but as you look ahead, you do notice that with the water rushing, it seemed like some of the stones had been loosened. And, well, I remember some of the shaking you felt when you were climbing up the cave, as it seemed like a lot of it was the ice just simply falling away from the mountains. But you do see more plant life that rushed down this river, and one of it you see this large tree, although dead and sort of gnarled, has not quite dammed the river itself, but it rests just above it from one side to the other. You guys could probably cross it, but might be a little tricky to cross. You can see it every once in a while as the water bumps it in one new way, it sort of wobbles to and fro.
Is there any areas of dim light on the other side?
Let's see.
Later, suckers!
Actually, yes. You notice that the way the sun is hanging high in the sky, the sunlight is basking on you guys right now. But across the way, you do see the shadow of the mountain casting down on a small stretch of land where it seems like this tree seems to lead.
So you guys have fun with the log. Luna's just gonna prepare herself a little bit and then take a running start and hop over the river, but not actually make it all the way through. But as she's hopping over, she is going to cast. She's going to cast Dusk Walk, and just I need to change that.
Really spell attack.
Attacked it?
I attacked the river.
Did you?
Oh, that's a good plan. Yeah, I just kill the river real quick.
I attack the river.
Easily enough, you're able to run and jump, and it's just what is she doing? She's just jumping into the river, and then you see her form immediately fade into nothing and reappear in the dim light.
What the fuck was
So
that?
looking at the
Now that is cheating.
that we come out of, that's just out of this tunnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
For it to be out of a tunnel, there has to be a wrapping wall around it, right?
So, you guys came out of this tunnel where you came from. You walked down the cliffside, back down to the river where you guys once came from, between these mountains. And now you notice that the river going between them is no longer frozen. It's full and flooding. And so the path you took to get here is now, well, it once led across the river, or along the river, rather. But you notice now that path is no longer available to you, unless you step inside the river. But ahead of you, you do notice that there is this tree that seems offers something of a place you could walk across, but it doesn't seem very stable.
Maybe if Gregory and Javen hold on to the tree, it'll get most of us across, and then we'll hold on to it on the other side so that Javen and Gregory can get across themselves.
How the fuck are they gonna hold on to the tree?
It's just like laying there. It's acting like a bridge of sorts, right? They can just.
Yeah, I don't know much good it'll do, but I can try to hold it steady on this side, Jave. You damn acrobat, and you get across? I mean, I can give you a rope. It's only, what, like 20 feet across? Not even?
About 25 feet from one side to the other.
Luna, you cheetah. You
That's why I
teleport.
jumped.
You teleport 15 feet out into it.
On the other side.
That's why I jumped.
She did a running jump first. That's why she jumped to the middle of the river and then. I got
Are there any stones?
Look, yeah, there's like.
Remember? I did the exact same thing with Toman.
Any stones, like large ones, small ones? What exactly are you looking for? There's definitely
Stepping stones.
Stepping stones in the river? Give me a perception check.
And I'm looking for any like shelves up on the side of the cliff face.
Oh, easy.
As in, like, just like cliff face, like little sharp. You can see a few. They're sort of sharp. Maybe some of them only about 5 feet above where this river is along the other side. Some of them a little higher, maybe about 10, 15 feet. But they are across this 25-foot ravine that you're standing across from.
Wait a minute. Persephone!
Yeah, Javen, you're looking in the water. You just see rushing foam going across the surface, and it seems like the batter
So
against.
does the current seem strong?
It seems pretty strong, as in, like, you can see, it looks like it's smacking up against this tree. If the tree were deeper submerged in the water, it might get rushed away. And you can see other branches and maybe smaller stones being just pushed along the current.
Persephone, can't you, like, move the earth or something and just divert the flow of the water?
I mean, there's no earth.
Huh.
That's the problem.
Well, the river's gotta flow on top of something, right?
You'd think. Couldn't you just, like, lower it?
We also have, well, no, this is rock.
Yeah, I mean, it's right up against the rock here. Otherwise, we just walk by the side.
Sand in the riverbed, though, Gregory. Water
What
just
do you-
doesn't run on solid stone.
Is there any
We
like
can-
loose stone that can I move loose stone? That's part of Mold Earth, right? Move
It's loose
Dig
earth,
up the whole
basically.
damn river?
loose earth.
I don't know, like, move it or
Loose
lower
earth.
it.
Like,
Oh,
you could
whatever.
probably try to pull, like, stone across the surface with it, but it would be rigid and unmoving. Has
How
to be
far
something-
away is the? Oh, sorry.
I'm just saying, you're fine. What's up?
How far across is the river?
25 feet.
Oh, I could clear that.
Yeah, James, just take a rope with you. We'll have a handhold for people cross.
Here.
So it's like this side, the river's right up against the cliff wall. On the other side, there's room to.
Essentially.
So how are we gonna do this? Like the 2-rope thing? Because I don't think you guys good at tight rope walk.
No.
Why don't we just use the log and hold on to the rope?
That's
Yeah,
what I.
that's what I'm
That's
saying.
I mean, I don't need to
saying.
hold on to the rope, though, obviously.
James,
So-
take the rope, run over there, and then hold it for people cross.
I see.
And then we use
Alright.
the rope as support so none of us actually fall down while you guys make sure that the tree doesn't move.
Yep.
Alright. Whoosh. As David picks up the rope, ties a little bit around his arm so it doesn't come loose in case he lets go of it, or then goes ahead and dashes across.
Hold the rock, the log for him when he's crossing.
Yep. As you jump onto this log and begin to run across Javen, you can immediately feel it rocking beneath your feet, but then the next moment, before it begins to rock any further, Greg's great strong arms catch hold of it, and again, it seems like this thing's pretty decrepit. It's not particularly heavy. A lot of the mass of its life has been lost, and there's now this sort of dry log you're holding onto, and thankfully, you keep it still enough for Javen to sort of dash his way across as Luna sits waiting, filing her nails. Easily enough, Javen, you make the other side where Luna stands.
Alright,
I
come
can
on,
pretty
Mickey,
fast
let's
because
go.
I have like what 110 feet when I dash.
Oh, there you go.
Fast as fuck.
You're right.
A moment this Dragonborn, next moment he's there.
Alright.
I'll just
Any
take
other
up the rope.
trees, along
So
this
just
river?
pull it taut.
Brace my
not
foot
that
up
you
against
can
a tree and
see.
hold
You
the
can see,
rope taut.
like farther down the river, you can see this plume of like roots and branches sort of sticking out, where maybe one of these rotten trees got pulled down and got wedged against the bottom of this river. But this seems to be the only real point of crossing. Only real tree that stands out in your sight.
Alright, who's next?
Alright, you went across.
I'm gonna go across next.
Come on, Persephone, let's go.
I got it. I'm gonna hold on to the rope because
Sure. Yep.
shaky. Yep.
Matey, I bet you she
Okay.
falls.
They hold the rope. Javen holding on the one end with his strength. Gregory holding the other with his strength. They make pretty good anchors as you're able to hold on the middle and use it for balance. And easily enough, thanks to their combined efforts, able to walk across this log. Sort of shakes beneath your feet, but if you didn't have that support from Greg and Javen, it might be a little trickier. But
I told you
Oh,
she'd
yeah.
be fine, matey.
okay. I'm assuming one by one, you guys begin to very carefully cross this log. Gregory, are you staying for last? You gonna wait
Yep.
for everyone else to cross? Unless anyone else will do anything? Okay.
What if you
And shall I-
Eldritch blast yourself?
Alright.
I don't know, matey. I mean, I know he's kind of hairy, and he's. You think he's gonna? I mean, he might break the log.
Y'all ready for me to make a fool out myself?
You should probably tie the rope to yourself.
Yeah,
Gregory.
I know.
Okay.
Wait, is there
And then
is there any place for Gregory to tie the rope?
Like to
My way.
himself around his waist.
and we can all hold on to
Actually,
the
no.
ropes.
Wait, no. What I mean is that is there any place for me to tie the rope on my
Your
side?
end?
You can tie
There's
it to
some
Luna.
sharp cliff faces. It looks like there would have been some plant life here, but a lot of it's mostly dead. The sharp stone faces. Nothing really to fasten the rope to.
All right,
Rough
you guys hold
sconces.
this end as I dash across the log.
Okay.
Alright, ready?
Let's see what's it-
And then I
Oh.
grab Greg's end. Alright, go Greg.
What?
Alright, sure.
As they're holding it taut, and I'm
Ready to
holding it
across.
taut.
Okay.
Hell.
Wait, Persephone, are you holding the rope? I'm not holding the rope. Samantha, are you?
Hold the damn rope!
Nobody's
holding
holding
the
the rope.
rope.
Just Mitty.
Yeah.
Betty, are you
No,
holding
I'm
the rope?
No, when Javen said hold the rope, Persephone just grabbed the rope because she follows instructions.
Wait, am I supposed to hold the rope too?
I pick up the log and I just sweep everybody off into the rope.
I hadn't even gone across
Wait,
it.
where's Samantha? Is Samantha on this side of the river or the other side?
I'm not doing that. I'm not going across the log to hold the other side of the rope until Samantha. Because the idea here is that I know Javen can cross the river pretty easily.
Samantha,
The whole
are you
idea
coming?
was Gregor's gonna wait until he's the last, and you go across.
Yeah, and then Javen basically flags Greg down.
So Samantha's dead.
So Samantha's dead.
She just
No,
refuses.
Samantha's dead.
She just
Oh.
refuses to cross
Yeah,
the river.
Gregory just runs across the log, picks Samantha up, and then he runs.
Just throw
Right,
her.
that's what I was. Yeet her into the river.
How far can you throw me?
I don't know, like 200 feet.
I meant that. seriously.
9 quintillion.
You weren't moving.
Samantha, what are you doing? What's going on? What's all up?
Dog.
There we go. All right. Hey, thanks,
Fucking
Javen.
much.
And I go across the log too.
Okay.
Alright.
With your shenanigans aside, trying to figure out who holds the rope, who's going first. Gregory, you managed to go, and Javen follows right after you. Javen would out of everyone, it would have to be Javen who'd have the acrobatics innate to him to keep himself from allowing this raw log to slip underneath his feet. But fortunately, he's used to walking a tipsy walk, and as he follows after you, Gregory, you can feel the log sort of shifting beneath your legs. But Javen seems pretty fine as he's keeping you relatively stable with his own.
See that? Wisdom.
Thank you, Javen. Thank you too,
Pass that.
Mitty. I can't believe you're the only one to hold the damn rope for
Wait,
me.
I'm holding
Yeah,
the rope.
9,000.
As
I'm
you
not
guys,
holding the rope, Gregory.
you guys
Furl up my
find-
rope. All right, let's get the hell out of here.
You guys
All
find
right,
a new
let's go.
land that seems to stretch down, going further and further into this valley where you remember finding the village of Pelcoa. Although, yes, Persephone?
I want to try sparking some life
in the little plants I see around me using druid craft. Like just see, like a wilted stem of some sort, just like druid craft. See if I can help the island along on my way through because I'm already.
Sure. As your guys are making your way down this path, you again, like you do, you see little spots of looks like plant life, but again, it's mostly grayed and frayed, as if these things were alive but now are dead. You pull some druid craft in, just little sparks of life, trying to give it a little bit of oomph. You could use it to cause a flower that was still adolescent to bud, and a bud to bloom with enough time. But you see the plant react to your magic. It sort of raises itself, gives a bit of color, but then sort of wilts once more. You can add to the life of a plant with this simple matter, but bringing it back is something of a different matter. It might take more time and effort on each individual plant.
Okay.
But regardless,
trying.
Regardless, you guys make your way down along the river on a safe path until eventually you reach the village of Pelcoa, although what lies before you is kind of a mess. It looks like water has definitely been flooding from this island, and these houses were not in a good way. You see the tall reach of the Great Hall standing before you, and a few huts here and there, but the rest of it just seems like it's been in shambles. You see only a few corpses hanging out, twisted and gnarled, but broken now by the rushing water that has since parted since your travel. And you see some of the wreckage of smaller huts now laying in pieces on the ground. The village of Pelcoa has been quite thoroughly washed away, save for a few landmarks, but there's no more ice, at least.
Oh God.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I guess it washed away all that. Clean slate, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Maybe Peleus got caught up in all the water too.
No, Peleus
I'd hope
should be
not.
on the boat.
Wait, do you want him dead or something, Luna?
What? I would never say such a thing.
I think you just did.
Everyone with high wisdom squints their eyes at Luna.
I believe she was being sarcastic, Clyde.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sarcastic about never saying.
I heard sarcasm is something that mean people use.
Not necessarily. You were being sarcastic earlier when you said that we should just jump into the river.
No, that was a joke.
That's what sarcasm usually is.
Oh. I must be good at it then.
At sarcasm?
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't think there's anything for us there. I mean, you don't leave anything.
I don't think there was anything
Go.
here for us to begin with.
No, let's get going now.
Wait, so are we heroes now?
Unsung.
So we need to get back to town so we can be sung.
Yeah, I mean, we.
Suppose
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, let's just proclaim how we saved the world by destroying an evil virus that was actually a magical spell, and we killed a bunch of undead. See, that was an example of sarcasm. That was a pretty
But
good
we
sarcasm.
did that.
Yeah, we did. We also
was it?
sound like crazy people.
What? No, we'll just have Father Winter tell the story. People in
That's
the church
true.
don't lie.
That's not always true. But with what it is that we've done here and the fact that Persephone, I presume you've taken relatively decent notes, right?
Of course, I'm just going to make sure they're organized and clean so when I transfer them into Elmon's journal, it doesn't look like mine.
Yeah, so Elmon will have a clear, concise record. He's a person of power. Whether or not he'll share that information, I severely doubt. But the people that inhabit his town will know that we were successful because there will be no more of these great-bitten monstrosities taking out their, what do they call them, wardens?
Oh, that's
Something
true.
like that.
But do you think we'll get a reward?
Well, hopefully her notes will be good enough that we get paid. That is part of the arrangement that I made. Other rewards withstanding.
Like,
We'll get paid for at least.
There wasn't exactly a formal quest for this.
Exactly. Our only assignment was to take Father Winter to Mossend and get information maybe from Elmon and then escort him
Right.
back to Oakwell safe and sound. And we're going to accomplish that.
okay.
But nobody told us to stop the Grey Bite. We decided to do that on our own. And at least
Oh, we
we're
did it
coming-
out of the goodness of our hearts.
Yeah, of course.
We're good
It was some-
heroes.
It was something that needed to be done.
I hope we were good heroes.
I
And
think
I'd
if
hate
we
to be a
sat
bad hero.
around and waited for somebody to ask us to do it, it'd be a lot worse than it was.
if Elmond reneges on his end of the deal, well, he'll
Well,
join
I'll
a
just
nice
keep the
long
journal.
list of people.
Wait, what kind of list? Wait, do you have a murder list, Samantha?
A murder list.
Let's not resort to violence.
Yeah, a
Violence.
murder list, like a
There's
list
no
of
need
names
to
that you're
resort to
gonna, people
violence.
you're gonna murder.
The man is already.
It was
saying,
implied.
As it is, anyway.
Wait, so then if it's not a murder list, what kind of list is it?
A list of people who operate in bad faith.
Oh. Wait,
So
what
that
happens?
So that she
Do they
would
get
know
punished?
not to. No, at least she. I mean, I'm not going to speak for her, but if I had to keep track of people I
Except that's
didn't
literally
trust.
what you're doing.
Well,
Okay, you can answer the question.
Thank
fuck,
you.
was that sarcasm?
No.
Damn it.
In this
So what's the
particular
long
instance, it's just people that I know not to trust or do business with, and if the cards are in my favor, then,
Right.
well, you
die.
make deals from a position of power rather than a position of submission. I had to ask for Elmon's favor in exchange for this arrangement. I did not have... how do I make this simple? He was climbed up much higher than I was, Clyde.
Okay.
So
Also, he had the high ground.
had the high ground, exactly.
Alright.
If he's
But if
on
he-
my shit list and I have the high ground, then
Right.
I can make deals.
Then
from
you
a position
kick
of-
him.
Well, no, you don't have to kick him.
You lord it over him.
Do you want her to
Relatively
answer the question
similar.
or not?
I'm trying to learn.
Let her
Let's see if I can-
finish. You will learn if you listen.
No, he provided a pretty good suggestion. That works. His way of filling in the blanks is easier than me shooting in the dark, because I'm sure I could probably go through 10 or 15 metaphors before it ever got through Clyde's thick skull.
Wait,
Don't
wait,
use
wait.
metaphors. That doesn't work on him. You need to keep
When was
things
the last
really,
time you
really,
got to lord over
really
somebody?
Simple.
Too long.
Is it fun?
It can be. Oh, I guess technically there was that one guy that Gregory beat the shit out of. Good job, Gregory. Thank you for that.
What? I don't.
This is
Who did you
turning
beat that
real
for?
ominous.
With the guy in the ring?
Oh,
I just noticed that Samantha
Yep.
has a way of speaking that makes her sound like she's a bad person, but I don't necessarily think she's bad. I just think it's the way she talks.
She's
Like-
not a bad person. She's a hero. A good hero. We saved the day. Heroes
You're right.
can't be bad.
You don't have to be a bad person to sound ominous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think she's a bad person. I just think the way that she speaks makes her sound like a bad person. Just like how sometimes people can sound like good people, but they're actually bad.
Or Clyde could sound really stupid.
That's true. I'm really good at that.
This conversation carries you for a full hour as you trek through this dead forest.
Good.
It's a bit strange as you find the corpses that once strew to these branches and up to the bark that were almost part of the trees themselves are now gone. It seemed like the water rushing past them has taken not only large amounts of the earth and the snow, but what remains of the dead. Eventually you find a coast. A coast that once was gray and devoid of life, rife with fog, and basically just looks like a hopeless mass of silver reaching out to the distance. You see the shoreline, now much closer as the water has begun to sort of surround the island even further. And right up against the edge, much closer than it looked like you left it, you see the Heart of Oak standing, basically with what's left of its mast still risen in the air, and almost like it's ready to move, but it's much closer than you left it.
Look, it's my boat. I mean, our boat.
Yeah. To
It
the
certainly is not your boat.
Peleus
said
move the
our
damn
boat.
thing on myself.
It is an elven ship.
Weird.
Peleus!
Hello?
Oh, he's on the boat.
Hey!
Hope so.
He's on the boat.
Hopefully he's alive.
Peleus! Bring the boat closer!
alive.
Here
Yeah,
we
so is the
go!
island now.
Well, I wouldn't say the island.
I told you he wasn't dead, Samantha. Or freaking Luna. I told you he wasn't dead.
I'd feel a bit bad if he was.
He seems to be dead on the inside, though.
No, he's just.
Okay, well, when you
sunburned.
say it like that,
Well, I mean, a lot of people are dead on the inside.
Peleus, can you bring the boat closer?
I'm on the shore. I don't
No.
think the boat can
Never
climb on land. I'm sorry. I didn't do good enough.
Oh, you marooned?
No, I know.
Good job, Persephone.
He totally fucked us over. I know. He let us down. Oh,
So the boat's
Don't
close
tell
to
him.
the shore, but it's not quite on the shore. We'd still have
Oh
to
yeah,
swim
when you
through
guys
it.
left the boat, it got lodged in the ice about half a mile from the actual shore itself. You guys walked across frozen water to get to Stroma. Now you can actually see the shoreline, which again is much closer because of all the flooding water. And you see the ships basically nestled, ready to go, with the front end actually pointed away from you guys. As if this,
No, Peleus did the smart.
Did the boat move on its own?
Yes.
We need to go get the boat right away, Persephone, before it gets away.
I mean, it sounds like he showed the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an elven ship.
I've never been on a ship before.
You were literally.
What?
Well, okay, I meant
You're
before
on
the
a-
Heart of
you're on a
Oak,
sh-
Samantha.
Oh, you're not
Really?
missing much.
No, I mean, most people don't get on boats considering how we just use horses.
But
Or
Griffin,
feet.
were you ever on a boat before?
Then.
Nope.
Oh.
Just go walk in the fish water.
No, it's gonna stink!
Wait,
I thought you were gonna make us fly, Persephone.
I was, and then Javen started walking into the water.
Oh, hurry up!
dumb motherfuckers.
I thought you said the boat's on the fucking shore.
That's what I'm so confused about. I thought the boat's on the shore and we can get to it.
Why
I'm
you
having
throw
trouble
me under the
visualizing.
bus like that?
We didn't throw you under the bus, we threw you under the boat.
No, I'll talk about it afterwards.
Wait, so is the boat on the shore?
Yeah, it's on the shore.
Oh,
Okay.
the boat's on the shore, everybody. We can just walk up to it. So just walk up to it?
Yeah, easily enough. Resting on the shoreline, like, strangely enough, it looks like the anchor has been moved. You can see this sort of, from the very bottom of the boat, where it looks like some sort of very nice chain, although it's been clotted with something, possibly from sitting on that other shoreline for so long. Looks like it's wedged down to the earth as if a spear had just reached down through the sand and held the boat shut. But easily enough, you come to the side and you feel your claws sink right into the woodwork, and you just easily enough crawl up surface, and you see standing, well, not proudly, just with his shoulders kind of slumped, but not really looking at you, just out towards this island devoid of fog, you see Peleus.
Peleus!
Oh!
What'd you manage this?
Well, it's just a Jaraday. I've read up on these boats. I've never seen one myself. But I read enough about them, I think I could manage running one.
Oh, no, don't worry. I can run the boat.
You saved us a hell of a trouble. Thanks, Peleus.
I have to thank you all. I never thought I'd see this island thaw. And yet there it is. It's grey and it's bleak. And there's no life on it. But it's better than it once was, I suppose.
Well, I was thinking of trying to bring some life back to Stroma. If you want to help me plant these seeds, they hold out my little pouch of moly seeds.
Oh,
He sort of looks down at your hands at these tiny seeds. What are they?
It's a plant that was similar to Liscus. We brought pieces of it to help fight against the Sinkan infected. It's called moly. It had the same effect on them as Liscus. And it might not be the same exact thing, but I think this would be a really good way to start bringing Stroma back to life.
You just see his eyes, these big teardrop-shaped eyes, looking down at your hand and up at you. And he gives you just this tiniest, thawing smile. That would be a dream come true, Persephone.
Okay, well then let's get started. I'm going to spend the rest of the day on this.
Yeah, I'll start digging out the boat.
So Persephone puts herself somewhere between the shoreline and the tree line, and she's going to start using her little mold earth cantrip to dig little pits, and she's going to spread out the moly a good distance apart from each other. And then find a spot in the middle between, the 2 and 2. And she's going to take one of her tangleroot seeds and plant it in the ground. Because,
Okay.
sure, the moly's just little plants, but we still need tree life.
I'm exploring the boat, making sure it's good to go, checking the anchor line, checking the other lines.
Persephone, give yourself some demon inspiration. As you remember, tangleroot is it's both in some places a treasured plant, in other places it's a nuisance, because tangleroot is known to grow like a parasite in a plague, spreading fast and far. Good shit.
Replace one plague with another. Good job, Persephone.
Great job, you.
I can't wait to have to come back here
Alright.
and destroy the vine blight monstrosity.
Yep.
Woo!
Yeah. Alright, great job. You replaced one invasive species with another invasive species.
Just a
Are you
fucking-
proud of you?
God,
There's no life
there's
here.
so many snakes. Well, why don't we just bring all these mongooses? Oh God, there's so
Oh.
many mongooses. Well, why don't we bring these gorillas? It never stops.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, the gorillas will all die when winter comes, so nature balances.
That's true.
Just
Yeah.
creating fucking Sleeping Beauty
Well done.
Castle where it's just gigantic thorns everywhere.
Yep.
Yep.
And then if the gorillas don't die, then
Now
you just bring a
swamp
bunch of
monsters
hunters, and
are
then you make
made.
a lot of money.
Easily enough, though, you make these little seeds, these little circles, and you plant your seeds. And Peleus tries to offer what help he can. He's just sort of like making little mounds of the sand
Yeah,
to
that's
make them like
perfect.
perfect and round.
Perfect.
And
Is that-
Persephone's encouraging him the whole way through. Yeah. Tells him he's doing a great job. That's exactly what she needs.
Everyone always told me to go pound sand, and now here I am.
Monster.
And Greg, you're just digging out the boat, or like, it seems like it's not quite like stuck on the shore. It just seems like sitting close to the edge. The only thing that's really keeping it bound where it is this strange spear-like anchor that's just wedged deep into the earth.
Yeah, I know that Persephone can do what I'm doing in the blink of an eye, but I'm just sort of making myself seem useful because I'm not really sure what to do while she's doing that. But I'm taking generous breaks because I'm also fucking exhausted. So I'll take a little bit and then sit and watch and get something to drink. But just so I'm not doing absolutely nothing. I'm pretending to help basically.
Javen.
Me and Matey are scouting the boat to make sure there's no stowaways.
Oh yeah. Who has all the pearl sugar?
The what?
The pearl sugar.
Why?
Wait,
I'm willing
we've
to
got
bet a
pearl
couple
sugar?
gold pieces you don't have a fence.
I don't have what?
You don't even know what a fence is. And it only reinforces my point.
Wait. When did we get pearl sugar?
I mean, I have no idea what you said. You cut out.
A fence.
Well, we need a fence. We're not going to sell it.
Wait, why aren't we
You're
sell
gonna
the
use
pearl?
it?
I mean, we're not going to use it, but I'd rather not participate in drug trading.
Not you directly.
Oh, that's sarcasm.
Wait, why?
Right? That's not sarcasm.
Wait, you
Clyde
don't even sell drugs?
I don't. But wandering around, you get a few contacts.
That's right. Pearl sugar's worth a lot of money on the market.
Depending.
Do you have someone you could sell it to?
Of course, I got someone to sell it to.
It's not doing any good just sitting around. I doubt we're going to be spending a lot of time in... What is that fucking backwoods town that doesn't have any fucking booze?
Wait, Moston?
That place.
No, Boston ain't a good place. They'll undercut you real hard because everyone wants some.
Well, that's what
Do you
I'm
think we
saying.
could
That's the only
sell it
place
in
I
Tessa?
know I could use that stuff to trade for. So if you think you can turn it into gold pieces, I don't see why not.
Yeah. I got the perfect place to put it too. Once he opens up the now empty barrel.
Javen, are you out of alcohol?
Unfortunately.
No, we are not, my friend. I was trying to get your attention, but I'll let you handle this matter first.
Wait, are you gonna die?
That's a good point, Clyde. Because as you may know, or may not know, I actually only consist of alcohol. My body somehow figured out a way to convert the alcohol into actual food. I don't actually have to eat anymore.
JV,
But
give yourself some
probably
game
will die.
inspiration.
I already have it.
Roll a D100, you bastard.
That's definitely sarcasm. Definitely.
Yeah, it is, Clyde.
Wait, I know of some people, if they don't, like, if they drink all the time and then they don't drink, like, they get the shakes and they start to kind of go like this.
Oh yeah, this is the hardcore ones. This is the ones that wake up, they can't go without a drink a minute.
Wait, isn't that you, though?
Why do you think I had a whole bag?
Wait, are we gonna have to tie you to the mast to make sure you don't jump into the
No,
lake thinking
I
it's
have
booze?
plenty of alcohol on me, and
Yeah, we
also-
have the endless rum thing.
Indeed, we do.
Oh, that's right. Oh, good. I don't like seeing people shake like that. It's disturbing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't either. That's weird.
So are you going to give him the pearl sugar so we can get some gold, Luna?
What do you think, Gregory?
Alright, Gregory's pounding the sand.
He's currently taking a leak off the back end of the boat, so he can't help you right now.
Oh. Oh, he is. You don't interrupt a man when he's pissing.
I'll think about it.
Think about it.
I mean, what is there to think about?
Easily enough, Persephone. Able to dig your holes. Anything else you want to do is you have these little mounds where you place these seeds. Just gonna leave them, give them some water.
No,
What do you think we're doing?
Well, I'm going to tell Peleus that if he wants to help more, he can get some water. Because I'm sure that would make it go along faster, but I'm still going to have to be up for quite some time. As I grasp onto my crystal, and it glows with a green light that illuminates my entire body and then seeps into the ground, spreading out a far distance from me. Almost like a tree that's planted itself into the earth as I start a really, really long cast of plant growth.
Mm.
Oh, half mile radius, but it's a mile diameter. That's what it was. Okay.
All right, as Persephone begins a very long and very draining incantation, pulling out this magic from within her and suffusing it into this now dead island. Peleus spends some time finding
Cries.
water, although it's pretty much everywhere. Like a lot of it just seems to be flowing down into the lake. It's not too far from where you guys are. So we come up and sort of just keep this area moist, and then not to erode some of the looser earth of this area and have the seeds spill out into the lake. Trying to keep this thing nice and firm as it is. But for the most part, he'll basically spend the entire time helping you if he can. But eventually, Greg, you basically get the most of the boat dug out. But you know, it didn't take too much work. You just took some time to relax a bit and just do something a bit menial that isn't cutting through massive corpses trying to tear you to pieces.
And I'll patch up one of my wounds a little bit too, just to get this thing patched up.
Okay. As it seems like Persephone is going to be spending quite some time here doing this, and unless you guys are planning on doing anything else, it looks like you might be spending the night on Stroma.
Well, you can hash out that issue with Luna. Javen, I did want your attention for something.
Yeah. What's up?
Two things. One, I wanted to share a drink with you, and two,
I'll take that.
Is it? Of course. As I just like kind of take out the spiced rum. I would have tested at some point if you have to actually pour this stuff into the glass, or can you just drink it straight from the bottle?
Sure, give it a shot. You're gonna spend some time just like testing out its properties, like figuring it out, or you're just trying to drink it, nothing else.
I just want to know how to get to the tasty rum. That is my only concern.
Can I fill a bathtub with it?
Let's see. Yep, you sort of uncork this thing. You take out the fastenings that hold this. It looks like a glass stopper in this leather-bound bottle. You can see through the seams of it that it seems to shift with some sort of invisible liquid inside. You uncork it, open your mouth, and nothing seems to come out. It's only when you seem to put this thing towards the edge of the glass or some sort of container, or just put it on the ground away from you, that anything seems to spill out. And when it does, once again, you have this image spilling out into the sand, forming this like thin, like almost oil-like consistency of that animated map you saw before it all begins to sink into the loose earth and fade away.
And I try to pour it into an empty wineskin. Does it fill that?
You put up against the edge of a wineskin. You see this thing starting to pour in. Finally, an image to it. This dark, like amber color, becoming darker until it's brown and filling. It looks like the edge of your wineskin.
And then I taste it.
Tastes really good, like nice, and it's like it's not quite spice, but there's this warmth to it that you. It's almost like it's like the feeling you have when you open up a chest that gleams with gold. If you could quantify that and put that into a flavor of a drink, it just hits you.
Perfect. All right. Well, now that that's understood, I just tuck the bottle back and just share the wineskin with Javen if he's all right with that. The other thing I wanted to know is you don't really have anything on your hands or your feet. As I look at your feet.
Nope.
But
These
you-
toes
100% scale.
And I'm sure the scales definitely help. They look a lot tougher than mine. But I'm sure you must know
Calluses.
a way to sort of... How is it you strike things with your bare hands like that without getting hurt?
Calluses. Trust me.
There is
A lot of striking.
Well, I know even if I just do a simple sort of fist and just try to punch something, it hurts my hand. Is there not like a way I should keep my hand together, or...?
Suppose you could wrap, maybe put on a glove, put some padding on there. That'll help pretty sure. I can only assume bones. That's the part that's hurting. You're just striking raw bone. Not much else, huh?
I have my gloves on, but they're not padded, that's for sure. I was just curious as to, well, I don't know if you have a certain kind of way that you fight or something. It seems like Gregory just kind of lets the motion of his sword sort of guide him along with his brute strength. And, well, Clyde fights with a bow most of the time. You're the only other person I know that fights up close and personal like that, and there are a lot of ways for me to utilize my magic. I was just curious if you had a sort of technique of sorts.
It just makes like a chopping motion. You try chopping. What is that? Muscle. You sort of knife up your hand, square your thumb in. That won't hurt too much because you're hitting muscle instead of bone, unlike a fist. See, and he starts like tapping it against the table using like his chopping hand.
Alright. Well, here.
And on your feet, well, yeah, can't really help you there again. You know, you have those bandage wrapping. It'll help pad up the bones. Make sure you're not striking bone on bone, or whatever you're trying to. Of course, if you hit something squishy, it's not going to hurt much. So you go for the gut.
I see.
Or the head. You know, knock him right here, and then he sort of like taps with his palm to the temple, or right here, where his like jaw attaches. That'll send stars in someone's eyes.
I'll keep that in mind, Javen. Here, you have to help yourself. As I just give him the wineskin full of rum and just make a few mental notes to
One more thing. It also works both ways. And the knife, you know, if you sort of like rubs his finger on the inside of his index finger. As long as the most important part is that you gotta do it with the. Can't just stop. Otherwise, you're gonna break something. That's why you see those idiots trying to chop wood with their hand, but they can't. It's because they just stop. You gotta keep pushing on through.
Follow through. Gotcha.
Yeah. See someone punch, you don't see them just hit the person and they stop their punch. You gotta keep going. There you go. And if it's a guy, hit him where it hurts. I mean, if it's a girl, it still hurts. It still hurts if you hit. I mean, honestly, if you just hit anywhere hard enough, it hurts.
That usually is the case, Javen. It usually is the case.
Remember, when aiming where to hit, just hit them anywhere.
Just hit them anywhere.
I appreciate it. I think I hear Luna calling for me.
Matey, did you find anything on
remember,
boxes?
self-defense.
What, Samantha? I'm not calling for you. I'm literally right here.
Oh, Luna, you're trying to learn some self-defense too?
I already know how to fight in close combat. I don't do it anymore, but I already know how to.
A young scrapper.
Yeah. Surely enough, the night begins to come, but this time, not quite as foreboding. When the sun begins to set over the horizon, you can see the night sky clear above you, an actual sea of stars glimmering, no longer the fog or the clouds, blocking the moonlight from reaching Stroma. Actually quite beautiful.
Wait,
But eventually...
any stowaways?
No, searching through the ship, it seems pretty empty. Doesn't seem like you're really finding anything of worth or value. You do see some of the things that have been upturned, the boxes that had clothes in them still open. Looks like Peleus may have been going through some things here looking for something inside, but Nothing really gives away someone's been hiding on your ship, especially with Mitty's nose prying around every corner. But yeah, eventually, night passes, morning comes, and at the end of all of this exertion, Persephone, the edge of the sun rising against the horizon, you're just exhausted, keeping yourself awake, trying to keep this thing going. Peleus only offers so much help as he can. He doesn't seem to sleep at all. He seems to take some time to sort of sitting by himself, his eyes barely half open. It seems like he's like meditating or something along the way. But during your time with him, while you're maintaining rather your magic, you can't help but notice something just out of the corner of your eye. Amidst this trance-like state you're starting to enter yourself, you can see just the ever so prominent figure of a person, pale in their complexion, eyes these bright blue, no real seeming any hair on his body whatsoever. There's sort of this silhouette, this figure, and it stands next to you while you're holding your magic out and extending it to the sand. And this figure sort of just reaches its own hands out. And you can see a bit of this white light that composes its form begin to emanate from its fingertips, sort of breathing out to the air and filling the sand itself. And you can see where the earth is ever so carefully pulling itself together, becoming less loose and sedimentary and more firm. But every time you can't pull your focus away from your magic to look at this thing, because if you do, you're afraid the spell's gonna slip. So you're just sort of accompanied throughout the night. But the moment Peleus sort of stirs, the presence fades. And morning comes. And once the sun rises and light casts its way over the beach, you find that you're no longer standing around, it looks like sand. The ground is much darker. You can see the ever so soft hints of green life beginning to peek out from the soil. It's like you're no longer standing on the edge of a beach, Persephone. You're standing on open, fertile soil.
I think it's gonna do for now.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just tired. What about you?
I slept a little bit. I had a wonderful dream.
Yeah?
I saw this coast rife with life. I hope it definitely comes true.
In time. I'm sure it will.
But for now, I think I'm done with Stroma. I think 900 years is worth enough time to go see other pastures. Hopefully green ones. I miss green ones.
It's pretty green in Movia right now, at least in the Elderbark Forest, and especially around Oakwell. And Locasta's shop is between a bunch of trees. If you'd like, I was thinking we could escort you all the way to Oakwell so you can see her again.
I would like to see her one more time. It's been many years. She must be an adult by now. Fully grown woman. I wonder if she even remembers me.
I'm sure she does. I don't think you're one to be easily forgotten about.
He just sort of smiles at you and gets himself off the sand. You can see him sort of brushing some of the sediment off of himself, and then he just turns and motions for you to follow as he heads back towards the Heart of Oak.
And I skip along after him.
He just sort of lets you skip. He basically goes so slow that if you go after him, you probably pass him, so he just sort of lets you go ahead of him, watching you.
I try to slow down and I just hop alongside him.
Eventually, you guys make it your way on the boat, where everyone seems to have a pretty decent slumber, spending some time trying to just relax after that exhausting ordeal. But pretty soon, everyone's back on the boat. Alias just sort of stands up among the rest of you, seeing some of you stir and stretch.
What? Are we done, Purse? What?
Yeah, I'm done. I need to go to sleep.
Alright, Gregory, raise the anchor, set the sails.
Right
Wait, Persephone, you need to get us out of the sand first.
What?
Do the thingy with a thing.
Gregory dug us out last night.
Yeah, we good. How long will I sleep? Did I sleep all through the night?
I think you sleep through the whole night, Gregory.
Basically.
I could have woke me for
I'm
a
happy
while.
to. Well, I'm happy
Anything
to
happened
report nothing
overnight?
happened.
Oh, good. Sorry about that. Yeah, hey, good. Yeah, I'm on it.
Even you were up all night too?
All right then. And you see Peleus heading down into the depths of the ship, going down toward the lever is where the anchor raises and falls. You can see him reach out, pull the anchor. You hear the sudden sound of chains shifting as a spear rips itself out of the earth, plunges itself back inside the ship, and suddenly there's this jolt as the thing sort of takes to water now, buoyant. And then you can hear sort of this.
The wheel.
Yeah, you can hear beneath the boat is sort of the soft muttering and the sound of wood sort of being pat, like a thump, thump, thump. And then something sort of stirs inside the boat, a sort of shift. And suddenly you feel it, that sense, that water rushing through these open tubes throughout the front of the back of the boat as water seems to rush through it within. And you hear that cranking sound, and suddenly, without sails, without really any wind to pull it, the boat begins to pull itself towards the water all on its own.
I don't understand this thing.
Persephone's gonna go below deck and go the fuck to bed.
Good night, Purse.
Okay.
She's totally gonna ruin her sleep schedule.
Yeah, she'll be fine after a few days. I haven't slept in months.
What doesn't that like how does that not mess with your head, Samantha?
I do
I heard
have 8 of them.
I heard a story once about a guy who was in a mine, that cave in. He was down there for like 2 weeks or something. I mean, go damn crazy because they said he wasn't being alone or being trapped or nothing. He couldn't tell the passage of time. I mean, he didn't know when to sleep and when to be awake. Is it not mess with you?
No. Usually the problem there is the fact that he's in a mine. We all
True
operate
enough.
off the
Yep.
fact that you can see the sun, and when the sun sets, that is night. For me, it's just being awake at night.
Oh. You know,
Makes
my
sense.
brother kept a slave awake one time for 10 days, and he went fucking crazy and jumped off the boat.
Said, your family, they
No,
still
they're-
around?
Oh yeah.
Where are they from? Like, you said you're on a boat. They ain't in Hot Basin, is they?
No, they're out in the ocean, out south.
Are they, I mean, I don't like prying like this, but you all right? You keep bringing them up. Like, is it something you want to tell us about this?
What do you bring up? You bring up Joey and Nina and what's the other one's name?
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah, I bring them up because I love them. I don't.
Wait, you don't? I thought you bring up your family because you know them.
No, because they're a happy thing in my life. It gives me good memories, makes me feel better, brightens my day.
Oh.
People linger on bad things, I get it, but I mean, you need help with anything? I don't sound like an ass, but your family don't sound like good people.
I mean, isn't everybody good in their own eyes?
That don't mean that they shouldn't seek or find justice. Well, they care
Or
if a
redemption.
bandit or murderer thinks they right. It don't mean they is.
But I mean, they're doing what the nobles want them to do. Like, are you not supposed to do what a noble says to do?
Well, I mean, when
Telling you
what
to
the
murder
noble tells you
people.
it does, yeah. When the noble tells you to do, bad thing, obviously you shouldn't do them.
But I mean, if you've always done it, how do you know if it's bad?
You just gotta wake up, open your eyes to it. But, like you said, that's all you know.
But like, what happens when you wake up and you realize all the things that you've done in the past are bad? Like, how can you ever make that right?
So you can't. That's the unfortunate thing, Clyde. Past is in the past.
So you're pretty much fecked?
I mean, you can
You
start
can
over
always
from
find
there.
redemption, yeah. It's not about, it's not like you're damned if you actively try to be good from then on.
But like, how do you find it? Like, is it in the woods?
Usually through religion.
Oh.
Yeah.
But if there's so many gods, then I mean, who can really give redemption?
I mean, there's only like them.
That's still a lot.
Clyde? Was your upbringing alright, Clyde?
Oh, it's fine. It was what every thimble does. Or at least the southern thimbles.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And,
you eat people,
did you ever wake
kidnap
up, Clyde?
people, you kill people.
Yeah. But do you know who Avandra is?
Wait, is that the one? Gregory, is that the one that you follow?
I mean,
Yeah.
I follow the teachings of all of them, but Vondra's, she's the god of the common folk, so yeah, I suppose so.
Wait, what was
Yeah,
the
you
other
know.
one you were telling me about?
Sorry, what?
The other one.
Which one?
Not the mean one. The one, it was, with an S. The one in the tree.
Sylvanas?
Sylvanas?
That one! What does he do?
Did I ever
I was about
mention
to say
Sylvanas?
What?
We've talked about Sylvanas before, yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Sylvanas is like the nature god.
Yeah.
The trees and all that jazz. Wild animals. Bugs.
Can he give redemption?
I mean, redemption's more of a, more internal.
Wait, is he like one of the strong ones?
Yeah, he's a main god.
But I think you're going about it the wrong way. You're trying to look for the reward and not realizing why you get it at the end. It's not trying to get payment because you did something good. It's just listen to the teachings of the gods and follow them because that's what makes you good. And at the end of it, if you did right, then you'll be redeemed. But
wait, what do you mean like at the end? Like if I die?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not about.
Jesus.
It's not like, Jesus.
It's worth it.
I didn't know that you spoke
It's worth it for
Draconic.
his heavy role playing. It's worth it. I'll suffer. Keep going.
I didn't know you.
Keep going.
I didn't know that you spoke Draconic. Jesus Christ.
Wait, so you don't know until after you die if you have redemption.
I mean, you'll know it in like your heart of hearts, something like that.
Right. But you go into it not expecting anything, but you get
You
something.
can't really mind game it, Clyde.
There ain't no cheating.
They'll know. Yeah, you can't really cheat it because the gods will know you're doing something just to get a reward. You're not going to get anything because you're not going to get the reward.
Well, how do you know that you're following their teachings? Are they like written down in a book or something?
Yeah, it's called a dogma. You know, like
What?
tenets.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
rules.
yeah, something like that.
Javen.
Yeah.
Clyde, it's really quite simple, alright?
Okay.
Redemption is something that is not necessarily just granted by a god or goddess, alright? It is determined by the actions you take in life. If you have faith that the things you do are good and for the betterment of other people, you are doing more than fine. It is when you act with malice in your heart and avarice in your doings that you will be punished. And in some cases, rare cases, if you ask, depending on the story, you can even find redemption in the afterlife. Where I am from, there is a very famous story of a man who was full of avarice and gluttony in life and was justly punished. But in his punishment, he found redemption after death, and his soul was freed from a land of perpetual torment. It's actually a famous story that's pretty well celebrated. So do not.
But Samantha, you said something there about making people's lives better, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
my family, they made the nobles' lives better by selling them slaves.
Yeah,
and
but
kidnapping people and
yeah,
murdering
but that's
people that
that's
threaten them.
avarice, Clyde. That's
But I mean,
greed.
but we
That's
are
not
making
good.
we are making their lives better.
Yeah, but that's out of avarice, and like we said, avarice ain't. If you're doing something for the reward, it's not worth doing at all.
Clyde, if you really
Avarice.
believe in the things you saying, we ain't gonna help you. You need.
No, I'm not. I don't like. That's why I'm confused because you're saying that that's not doing good, but my family said that was doing good.
Clyde, greed drives your family.
Oh, like
They're
the
not
love
doing
of
it
money.
because it's good, yeah. That's what avarice is.
But doesn't everybody struggle with that? Doesn't everybody want nice things?
Yes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
It is.
But not when,
Losing yourself to avarice is the problem.
yeah. When you start doing bad things to get money,
Clyde, you a
that's not it.
good man. I do not believe that you think that torturing and using people and killing people for your own gain, innocent people, is good. I will not believe you think that way.
Well, no, it's obviously not good,
There you go.
right?
Yeah.
But then, like, how do I know what is good?
You need a whole bunch of time in the church, Clyde.
Yeah.
I don't
Evander
really like
will,
being. I don't like being in like a stone building.
yeah, well, I don't either.
Can't I
Do-
just go to the Sylvanus' church? Where's that? Is it like out in the woods? Is it a tree?
Town? Isn't there like another building in the wooden area?
There certainly is. It's run by a certain Father Shep, an old man.
You could speak with Father Shepherd if you want to learn the teachings of Sylvanus, Clyde, but you do not need religion to be a good person.
It helps.
Gregory says I do. And Father Winter.
I'm just
definitely
saying
is a good person.
It helps.
they're a whole lot more qualified to lead lost flock than we is.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah,
no like
we're
bad dogs,
me and
though, right?
Gregory. We're very much, the mercenaries of Evandra.
But there's no bad god. Like there's no like mean one.
Look, all the gods have the
Uh,
place.
Yeah. I mean, that's more relative. Because the Raven Queen's kind of bad if you think about.
Wait, what? Oh, cause she's.
Oh no, she's more like death, and if you don't accept death, you fear it. So she's bad in that way, in that people don't like that. You know what I mean, Clyde?
No, I don't want to die.
Yeah, and that's why people don't like Raven Queen.
Wait, so
A
that she
bit.
comes whenever you die?
Yeah, she helps shepherd
then
your
does-
soul to the
So then
afterlife.
does she judge you?
I'm not sure.
Hmm.
People believe that. Sure.
But what if she's wrong? Like, what
About
if she
what?
judges you wrong and cheats you out of something?
Gods ain't wrong, Clyde.
I'd like to think the Raven Queen's pretty lawful.
Oh. So if you judged poorly, then that means that you don't have redemption as you're a bad person.
Well, I mean, if you don't deserve redemption, then you weren't judged poorly.
Oh. I think I need to go talk to Father Shape.
That's what I
Yeah,
would
I
recommend.
ain't no priest. I'm more of a leader of example.
Well, that's good.
Father Winter helped me through a lot of hard times in my life, Clyde. There's nothing like having somebody that knows the way, knows how to show
Oh,
you
yeah.
where to put your feet.
Wait, do you
Yeah,
have hard
preach it.
times, Gregory?
Yeah, Clyde, I bet just about everybody does.
Yeah.
That's why everybody gotta find their own way.
Oh.
So I found my way with Avandra. Though more of the travel aspect.
Oh.
You know, Lady Luck and all that.
Wait, she's the god of luck?
Yeah.
Oh. And Savalis is the god of nature, and the Raven Queen is the god of death.
Hmm.
Which
Then
one
you
was
have-
the one? The Ayun.
Ayun? Yeah.
Goddess of
She's the-
knowledge.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the joyful one.
Moradin, goddess of the
Yeah,
forge
that
and
one.
invasion.
And then
Like a god of like
the-
battle.
The
Or like a
closest
god
to
of
that
healing.
Wouldn't that be
is
like
probably
Tyr?
Tyr.
I think I'll start with Savalis.
I think that would be a good place for you. His teachings of balance would be, I think, helpful for you, Clyde.
I'm really good at balancing.
As I look at the sunset.
Yeah, it's so strange how your conversation just seems to carry throughout the day and almost into the day and a half.
Talk real
As-
slow.
Yeah.
You see, Clyde.
As your travel is
Yeah.
although it is somewhat spotted by sort of strange sights. One of them, well, unfortunately or fortunately for you, it doesn't come with the smell, but you do notice, especially as you leave the island, sort of bobbing on the surface of this lake, floating, some of them whole, some of them in pieces, the silver-scaled bodies of fish of various sizes. Although, there is sort of this other strange sight you see. Life in this area, bobbing down from the sky, coming down from the sparse clouds in the distance. Tiny winged creatures flocking down, white feathered, plunging into the water and catching onto some of the fish before flying away. As it seems like in the throes of death that Stroma had gone through in these last few months. Finally, life's starting to return, and it's taking solace in what's been lost. As you see just flocks of these gulls and other birds swooping down, picking up the fish, and just having themselves a feast.
Do you
Even
show
some of you with
meat
better
in
sights,
those?
like Luna, looking off in the distance, you might see like a relatively large like fish floating atop the surface before suddenly the water sort of churns and the whole body just plunges underneath the surface as if something dragged it into the depths. But nothing stops you. In fact, by the start of the second day, rather, on the lake, you do make out the edge of the elder bark, and it's admittedly beautiful because when you left this place, it almost looked like fall when the colors of the trees were changing to this almost autumn color, these orange and purple and dark brown. But now it's just this sea of green. As eventually you guys make it back to shore. Making it back to that sort of rocky shore that you ended up coming from, but maybe just a flow of water now entering from Stroma out into this lake, but it seems like the tide has risen when you return. And you find the shore a bit more accessible. As some of you guys begin to dismount and find the earth beneath your feet, Peleus sort of just peeks over the edge, a bit uncertain. Very carefully, teeters his way down, trying to climb down a rope, and test the ground with his foot. Sees it somewhat solid, and steps onto Mobia land for the first time.
Good old terra firma.
Oh, God. I'll tell you what,
Persephone!
holding onto that wheel all night long, multiple nights in a row, really does stiffen you up.
Persephone looks up from finishing Elmon's journal. It's like, yeah? Are we there?
We're here. Samantha, next time when you're on the wheel, you got to bend the legs a little bit. You got to ride the waves like this.
Oh yeah.
Is he
Persephone.
just doing squats?
As you see Clyde doing some hip gyrations.
Oh yeah, you gotta really feel it.
Wheel.
No, you ride the waves.
I mean, I was moving along with the waves, but I'm just saying, it was still...
If you did it right, Samantha, your back wouldn't hurt.
It isn't my back that hurts.
You said it was so stiff.
It's my shoulders.
Well, maybe Gregory can, massage him.
If anything, I just needed him to kind of crack my back a little bit.
Gregory, could you crack her back?
What, you want me to murder both of you? Alright.
No, she needs her back cracked.
So are you guys just leaving the boat on the shore, anchoring it where it is? What are you doing with it?
I was about to ask that, what are we going to do with the thing?
We should find a place to keep it docked.
Well, I mean, we
That's
have to
not
go to
here
Thistle.
where anybody can take it. We could.
Were there docks? No. Boston's too far from the shore. Never mind.
We'd have to take it to what, Thistle?
Well, I mean,
We might have to do. We might have to stop by Moston to let them, know we're all okay. Bring Father Winter back to the boat. Go all the way down to Thistle. Dock it there. That's a lot of work.
That's true.
Maybe we could pay someone to do it.
We could pay somebody in Moston to drive the boat down to Thistle, and then we could pick it up in Thistle, or we could sell it.
How'd we sell the boat?
A boat this good, I mean, it's
Well-
got to get us at least a couple thousand gold pieces.
Well, I mean, I guess we can't really move the boat anywhere else.
I look across the Heart Basin.
But if we need to go to Illyria one day, the boat might make it a little easier than trying to cross all the way
Then
around
we
the Heart
rent
Basin.
the boat out to someone from Thistle. We become merchants. We
No.
become
mean,
we become the Elder Bark Thimbles.
I
Are
don't
we-
want to be a thimble.
Are we gonna be
I like
travel
Baja
on
Rouge.
the hot basin enough to need our own boat? I mean, it was convenient this time around.
Well, I mean, Gregory,
That's true,
it's better to
too.
need it and not, or it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
For once, I actually agree with Clyde. I'll see about trying to get someone to try to move it down to Thistle for us, if that's tenable. If not, we'll think of something else. For the time being, let's just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Persephone!
What?
Write that in your journal. Samantha agreed with me.
I pull out my journal and my quill, and I scribble on it, and then I just close my book.
Done.
Peleus!
I actually scribbled on my book by accident. Fuck.
Why are you clapping
Intro,
so
great
loud at
job.
me?
Because we're on land. Look at all the green.
It's a lot of green.
Yeah, it's my favorite
It's
part
almost
about it.
too much green.
Well, it
Well, we can
gets
just go ahead and
less
swim
in
back to Stroma
Oakwell.
then.
Then
No.
You
Yeah,
look at the
little
sand,
forest.
it's a lot of
There's
yellow
a lot of,
One
too.
eye.
there's a lot of forest right now, but Oakwell is right between forest and flatlands.
Look up, there's a bright yellow thing in the sky, too.
Flatland.
I'm telling him to look
Is
at
that-
the
That's
sun.
weird.
Well, if you wanted something not less green.
What was that,
I've
Peleus?
never seen planes in my life.
I know.
Also, that's
it's amazing.
sarcasm.
Peleus, there are these birds, right? They don't fly, they're really big, and their beaks are in the shape of axes.
That's true. They
That's
taste
why.
great. They're
That sounds
delicious.
so terrible. I bet they wish they
That
could
sounds
fly.
amazing.
terrifying.
I'm gonna flip through my journal to
Why
show
would
him
you-
a picture of my crudely drawn axe beaks. Like, look, they're
Yeah, Javen just like looks over pit.
They
Those
taste
look
really
terrifying.
good. They taste really
Right.
good, Peleus. I'll kill one for you sometime and cook it.
No, thank you.
Are you sure they won't
gonna-
like
I'm gonna imagine
attack
we're going
you
through the
first?
forest back to Moston as we're chit chatting.
Yeah, he's just sort of looking around, walking the path, just sort of rubbing his hands together, sort of shyly. Sort of taking in all the sights. Every once in a while, there'll be the sound of a bird crying, which is new to you guys. Since you were last here, everything was almost dead silent, except for maybe the sound of like the occasional insect or the fluttering of wings off in the distance. But now, once again, the world sort of buzzes with life. You can hear birds chirping. You can see this. You can see the shapes of animals moving in the distance. You even see sort of lumbering off between some trees, large hairy body of a bear. And as it sort of turns to heed you, you can see this pale, shriveled form of some animal, maybe a wolf, hairless in its form, just clutched between his jaws. And he turns and goes and walks off to wherever he came from.
Bye, Mr. Bear.
But after about a
It's nice
day's
to see
travel,
something that's not zombified.
for about a day's travel, you guys eventually reach it back to the gates of Moss Den. You can see in the thick of this forest where the ground rises up into these sudden hills, and between them and scattered across their tops are the huts, some of them crudely made and others a bit more ornate to the style of the elves. As you see, strangely enough, the gates, when you first get close to them, they look like they've, I mean, maybe it's just been some time, they weren't always in the best state. They're sort of these like sickly looking spokes that stand together as some sort of facsimile of a defense, but you do notice at some points it looks like the gates have just been sort of pried open. Some of the fence has been like pulled upon or tested. It looks like sort of in a rough state.
Is there
You can
any
see this-
moly around?
Yes, but far less than you noticed there was before. And the ones you see, Persephone, they're still alive, but it looks like they've been through some harsh weather. You reach up and clutch at your wrist, and you can feel that strand you had has now been dead. It's shriveled away and lost its life, but what you see now before you, it looks like something of a specimen barely clinging to its own life, as if it's been tested against some sort of terrible weather.
Persephone, what's with the face? What's wrong?
Well, I can only imagine what happened here after we left. There isn't as much moly.
Oh, shite.
So-
Gregory! I think everybody's dead in there.
I wouldn't panic yet because the gates are still standing, right? They just look tested.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
wouldn't panic yet. It just looks like it's been a rough couple of days for
We
them.
better make sure Father Winter's alive, otherwise we're not getting paid.
Oh no.
Clyde, see,
See, that was
But-
an example of sarcasm. That was a pretty good one.
It looks like they're under attack.
I hope so.
Well, yeah, they were surrounded by gray-bitten creatures. The moly was the only thing keeping them back, just like the Liscus did for Pelkoa. But just like the Liscus, the moly couldn't hold forever.
Let's go. Get in there.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's no injury.
Hello?
Knock knock.
Hello? Are you alright?
Yeah,
As
we're
you see a
fine.
couple-
Yeah.
at the gates, you see a couple of scaled wardens with their cloaks glimmering in the shape of those sort of like velvet scales coming around to greet you. They look just a little bit panicked, a little tired, but relatively unharmed, except for one of them whose arm seems to be sort of cast in a sling around his shoulder.
Oh,
Oh,
hold on.
Aye,
hold on,
we're
hold
back.
On, hold on.
Are
Here
you
you go.
alright?
I give
Yeah,
him a
we're
good
perfectly
belly.
fine.
What is this? I don't need this.
It'll help your arm.
He just flicks it off into the distance.
No, it'll help your arm.
Are you seeking shelter?
No,
No.
No.
Wait,
I mean, kind
You
of.
shouldn't be able to. I mean, you shouldn't need to.
We're the heroes of Oakwood.
I know you.
Tell Elmon
Yeah, we
and
are.
Sevens returned.
Hold on.
I don't know if y'all got any of that. I'm sorry. We're a little bit excited.
I remember you. You came to the gates before, and
That's right.
word spread
Uh-huh.
that you were going to take care of this.
Yep.
And we did.
And we're
I
back.
believe you. As
Yeah.
you get closer to the gates, Clyde, when you say that, you see a couple people moving around the village. It was sort of a bustling place during the day before, but now there's a bit more life, although it's a bit haggard. You can see scattered among some of the wall, you see people clutching wounds. You can see some of them like bandaged up, somewhat well treated. And around the place, now that you're starting to get a better look, you can see a pile building up by the gate, with a pyre basically getting ready to burn it. You see pale bodies, twisted and deformed, lined up in a great mound.
Yeah, all of those just suddenly just stopped moving.
Yeah, it was just a night or two ago.
Yeah,
They,
I want to hear a story.
I don't know what
I
happened.
mean-
Whatever
we
the
saw
doctor
it.
did to keep them away, it started to fade. I think the cold was killing it. And they came and they attacked. We thought it was about to. Well, fortunately, it didn't come to anything terrible. Something happened.
Yeah,
Just
you're welcome.
stop. I don't like this
Javen!
one. He keeps interrupting me.
He does?
We're working
Alright.
on manners with some of the members of our group.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to get my money. As he looks at Clyde.
Wait, is Father Winter alright?
Father Winter, priest.
That's right.
He was. He actually got in the middle of things when people started getting hurt. He's with the doctor now. Please, if you're here to, if you did cause this, if you did end this,
That's right.
the village master would like to see you right now.
I
Of
know.
course!
I'm
She's
sure
got a
he
blood
would. It's just a great big smile just kind of spreads across Samantha's face, and she just starts fucking power stepping over to where this fucking place is. Just
Making your way up onto the docks that raise above the sort of jagged ground beneath you, are easily led to the building. This sort of makeshift church to Ayun that leads deeper into the hill underground, into the chamber that contains the village master himself, Elmon. The guards almost try to stop you until the one leading you immediately pushes them aside, like, nope, it's them. And easily enough, they open up the doors, lead you down a flight of stairs. And though he does lead the way, he sort of stops you for a moment just to make sure that there is someone he's searching for within this building. The doors open up, he enters, and you can hear muffled talking inside, just like a cough every here often, a couple of sounds of footsteps within, and then the man keeps the doors open wide for you and invites you inside. And you can see once again this council chamber, where it looks like many meetings are held, but only one true man sits above the rest in his chair. But not today. Elmon stands at the base of his podium. Not above you, but on equal level. You can see now, not hidden behind his desk, a shriveled form, basically with robes hanging off his body, leaning on a staff with a somewhat distinct raven head resting at the top. As you come to his council chamber. Yes, put yourself wherever.
It's dark.
Hold on. There you go.
Oh, that's right.
Good job, boy. Percent, what the fuck are you doing way up there? Get back here.
No.
It's fine, I'll just go right up to him. Oh, he'll hold him.
I killed Clyde again.
I don't know why my tokens aren't calibrated to my character sheet.
Uh-oh.
It's okay.
Yeah.
No,
In
no,
fact,
Luna, just go to the inn. Just get some rest. It's fine. Take Peleus. We'll be great. No problem. Sounds. Oh, yep. Okay.
So, Luna, you decided? Yes? Oh,
Luna can be with us.
Oh,
Wait,
Luna.
Javen, where's Javen? Javen?
I don't know. Why am I dropping?
that God conversation killed her.
Yep.
Sucker punched her right in the face.
Oh no, there's two of them.
I don't know, what'd you do?
There's your
Don't worry,
game.
my roll 20's done. Someone delete
yeah.
someone.
It's all the conversations, all the roleplay.
Well,
there.
well.
You gonna get that checked out?
You have returned.
Indeed, we have. And it seems you have had quite the predicament.
No, Mitty, you gotta eat the bird. Leave it alone.
They came so fast in the night.
This is not
And
gonna
all
end
began
well.
to wither. You seem sort of leaning on his staff. I thought all would be lost. But that man in his light, he helped drive them away, at least for some time. I looked down on him, looked down on his generosity, kindness, and yet he threw himself into the fray to save people that weren't his own. I must admit, I was quite foolish.
Well, you learned humility. Proud of you.
We don't need to rub it in his face, guys.
What?
Fine.
I'm genuine.
Just staring at Gregory.
Don't make mistakes. Lost you your people.
Samantha?
Yes.
This don't need to be ugly.
Well, as you can see, everything has been taken care of out on Stroma. And now the Grey Bite has been vanquished. It was quite the ordeal, actually. We had to deal with, well, things that were almost indescribable, but thankfully we had the quite detailed notes of Persephone to put things into perspective.
Is that true? What did you garner from all of this, elf girl? As he turns to you, Persephone, you can see he looks like he's somewhat in a worse state than he was before. Whatever the hell happened in Mosden, he's definitely taken a toll on him as he's sort of using this staff as a crutch.
Stroma was an island once inhabited by elves during the era of ancients to escape giants. But they still had to face dragons, and in their desperation, it looks like they tapped into darker forms of magic, the consequences of which we felt most recently. I don't think that was their intention, and I don't think that's something they thought would harm us millennia down the line. I've organized your journal in a way that should be able to walk you through everything that we've learned about Stroma, about Greybite, and everything leading up to its end. As I pull out the black journal with the little feather on it that I had purchased for him.
You see, one of the scale wardens starts to step towards you, Persephone, but Elmon sort of waves his hand and step by step, talk. He actually walks up to you personally.
It's okay. I'm going to meet him halfway.
Okay. As he reaches out and sort of withered step, you catch him, almost keeping him from falling, and he takes the book from you and looks it over. Goes flipping through the pages, sort of keeping the staff against his elbow to keep himself standing, fluttering through them.
It kind of reads almost Persephone's all about stories. So the first thing that he'll see when he opens it is a map of Stroma with Pelkoa marked on it. And it talks about Stroma's environment, how it used to be a jungle, the history of Stroma that she gave him briefly. And then it even talks about Pelkoa, the culture that she had learned from Lacasta, and some of the details that she learned from Peleus, and then finally gets into Sinkan, the symptoms, how it spread, the story around young Yari going missing, and then at the very back it mentions the Lost Academy, the star sigil drawn on the ground, the maw of hunger, and then how even when it fell, it rose again. The only thing that stopped everything was by using magic to dispel the magic from the star itself.
So he spent his time, he's supposedly mostly just sort of feathering through the pages, sort of taking brief glances of what was written within. You can see his eyes sort of lighting up and narrowing at certain points before he looks back up at you. These are quite detailed. This would make a fine addition to the collection. Again, I must thank you for this. For everything. And I'm sorry. I think I've lived far too coldly in this chamber. Far too isolated. For far too long. It's only brought death to my home. And it's only brought pain to the people I'm meant to protect. See, looks over to one of the scaled wardens behind him and motions him over to the desk. You see him sort of give him a salute, walk up the stairs, go through his things, and come back with a relatively large coffer and a small box in his other hand. The coffer jingles as he walks, pretty audibly, as he steps forward next to Elmon and presents it, this time, to you, Samantha. Due payment for due wares. As he presents the coffer. 900 gold pieces.
Excellent. So just take that.
Eats it.
And for the kindness that you have shown my people, the selflessness, the lessons that you and that father had taught me in this time. I wish to give you a lesson of your own. You are all close to one another. I've known that of Oakwellians. There are bonds that are formed between individuals that are seldom ever broken. Trust is a hard thing to keep between people. But between you lot, there's something that far and few can maintain. As the man extends the other box to you, Samantha, and opens it up. And you see within, it's sort of the soft padding that used to hold jewelry. And along its line, you see 6 distinct copper bands. And you've seen one of these before. There's not too often a common item in the world enchanted with magic. Especially not this quite crafty elven design, but something that elves used in past wars to keep close to one another, especially during more confrontational and secretive missions. You found that these small bands, when worn and attuned to one another, allowed you to keep words and secrets within those you trust the most. As you all find and are receiving, all receive rather, one of 6 unspoken bonds.
Oh god, does it hurt me? It's copper.
Mm.
Yeah, you die.
Yeah, you die.
No!
It's an
Ah!
elvish design.
Go
I'm
save.
sure it's
Die.
fine.
True.
Simply wear these rings, these relics of our people, and connect with those you trust most. And you'll find a connection, a bond between them that needs not words to be spoken, at least aloud. Allows you to keep your own secrets, without them falling into the wrong hands.
And she just reaches in and takes a single ring from the far right side.
And one by one, the guard, seeing you take one, offers one to you, Persephone, and then goes by one to the members, skipping over Mitty for obvious reasons, and handing a ring to each and every one of you.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah. This is neat.
At least I just
I didn't really have a penchant for jewelry.
Just put the coffer down at my feet. Now, Elmon, you have been so... well, I appreciate you upholding your end of the deal. I do have a gift for you if you want, well, knowledge that I don't think anyone else, besides the people in this room, could truly have.
I look at Samantha a little surprised.
Knowledge gathered from this decrepit island, from this lost academy.
Indeed, just, well, if you are so brave, as to see the visage, what it is we truly faced down there. I will give that to you as well.
At the cost of my sanity, perhaps it'll bring me closure to know the face, what caused this terrible plague. A face that was brought to an end.
And step closer to me.
As he sort of leans forward closer, leaning on his staff, trying to support his weight as this gaunt man stands before you, looking up and down.
As I just kind of reach into my my cloak and try to find... I gotta figure out a new way to hold this fucking thing. It's so big now. Jesus Christ.
That's what she said.
God damn it, Clyde. I smite him. Smite him, please, Gregory. Just smite him over and over again as I pull out my scepter. Give a look at it. I haven't looked at it in a little bit. And just say a few words of power, calling upon a foe vanquished to make his appearance again as I cast a little major image.
Oh.
Look upon now the maw of hunger and summon it forth. And hopefully also try to have it, I don't know, make some of the, like, say the weird shit that it said to us. Yeah!
First of all, Samantha, give yourself some team inspiration.
Yeah!
We all get
As this
inspiration!
thing, rising out of your magic from almost like a shadow pulling itself off the ground, you see a semblance of the shape that formed itself before. This tall, towering creature that's flesh seems to be connected by these strange black tendrils. Elmon sort of looks up at it shocked, almost falls off of his staff, and you can see his bird on the shoulder go, ah, ah, and immediately fly away in shock as it comes over, not really wanting to defend his owner. As this thing looks down at the elf before him, leaning in and just whispering these terrible words.
I try to help Oman up.
You sickly creature, too weak for the cold, but maybe you're enough for the hunger. A simple snack.
Okay, Samantha,
Poor
that's enough.
Richards.
Make it stop.
What? It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. Luna, are we fine?
The hunger.
It still doesn't make it any better.
You didn't have the fucking thing bite you.
As this, you see Elmon being helped up by Persephone, sort of shaking in his movements as he's clearly terrified of what he sees. This thing that literally just appeared before him, this terrible image. It almost seems to let off this wafts of cold that chill his already pale skin. He looks it over. This is something of demonic magic.
Yeah.
He twisted the form of flesh and called it the maw of hunger. Hunger. That name.
Name?
Why does that ring so familiar? I'm sorry. I think you've given me a fright. I might need a moment to sit down.
Of course. As I just move my scepter again and almost in if you'll let me do this, God, I totally want to do this.
Okay.
Can I cast Major Image again to change what this looks like?
Yeah, you're basically stopping the spell and, summoning a new one, so you can say, like, this form begins to dissipate and then it reforms to something else. Because, you're casting it again.
Yeah, as it sort of shifts, it almost looks like it casts again, except it's like turned away from him, and it just sort of turns to the side, and you can just see what looks like the the image of just a great golden sword sticking out of the chest of it, as it just seems to collapse in on itself.
This massive glowing blade pierces into its form, seemingly coming out of nowhere, as it sort of lets out this terrible gasp. And it falls to the ground. So he looks it over, a bit more relieved at this image, watching this terrible sight fall and be slain by this spectral sword. This does bring me relief, watching such a terrible foe fall.
I was the one that killed it, though.
Yeah, but I'm not your
I
hype
punched
man,
it
so
to
I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
I punched it to death. That's not fair.
A giant golden fist descends down and punches him in the face.
You gotta
A
give
mighty
this-
karate chop
Hey,
cuts him in half.
You had Laura, and Gregory has me. It's fine.
As a giant spectral wolf comes in and just starts chewing on him while he's down.
But yeah, then it starts hearing the conversation that we had.
I must thank you again. This plague was far greater than I anticipated, but you lot are not what I expected. Though few in number, you are quite capable. Perhaps if there's anything to trust from Oakwell, any of the lot whose words I can take true and know, when you say you will accomplish something, you will do it. Perhaps I can trust in you. If there's any aid you require, any knowledge you need seeking, know that your generosity will be repaid, and all resources will be yours to use.
Actually, now that you mention it, there is a minor matter. I'm sure some of your men will appreciate the break. We do have quite a large vessel that's come into our possession. I do not know if it would be up to your men, perhaps, to take it to Thistle for us and dock it there.
The lost boat you recovered. Certainly, I suppose. Thistle has docks, although they've oft been used in old times. It's sort of in a state of disarray, but they do keep them well guarded, I suppose. The wardens of nature they've always been. Certainly. I would not ask payment for what you've done. Our men will simply move it. It may take some time, though.
That should
okay.
be fine.
So long as it gets there, that's perfectly fine.
He looks you over all with sort of hopefulness in his eyes, and then Persephone, you pick up on it first with your incredible high insight. There's just sort of this pang of guilt on his face as he looks down. I have not seen him since he visited the doctor. I'm sorry that such harm had befallen your father.
Wait, Father Winter was injured?
He looks up.
What?
What?
As he looks
Gregory,
over,
no.
looks over at the wardens, and one of the wardens just kind of, the one who led you in, just sort of pulls on his collar.
You didn't mention that.
When you said when he was with the doctor.
Is he well? All a sense of happiness just drains out of Samantha's voice.
Wait, is he dead?
How
Looks
bad
down.
was it?
I get my arm ready to stop Gregory from murdering everyone in this room.
I am sorry to say, but when the father was fighting, and then you hear the doors behind you just open up again. Ah! There you are! As you see Father Winter, clad in his robes, with a big beaming smile on his face, come stepping down, quite excited. Oh, well, hell yeah! You know, I knew when those things stopped moving, I knew it was y'all. As
The collective sigh of literally everyone in the
It's like,
room.
alright.
I'm about had it up to here with sarcasm.
As you see, walking up, just as happy as can be, as if just revitalized with all this new energy, Father Winter comes strolling ahead, smiling at you all, and then looking to you, Gregory, coming up and just patting you on the shoulder with just the greatest mood. And up behind him, following a few steps behind, is the doctor, his hands folded behind his back, just silently following after Father Winter. Greg, god damn it, I knew that light in you was good for something. They all fell. They all fell. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. It's this whole sea of terrible things, evil, the sea to evil, just all gone. I
We
knew it
did
was
it,
you.
fella. Ass over here was about to tell me how you were gonna be a whole lot paler. Look fine to me. But y'all fine, right?
Oh yeah, it's got a little in the scraps of things. Some of those things started coming near the wall, and there's a lot of people there. I mean, I think I've been relying on y'all a lot to help defend people, and using your light, Greg, to cast away the darkness. But well, yours was a gift. The time I spent under Vondra's light, I have a bit of my own to use, and I help at least keep them away for some time. Though I do have to admit, it seems they did score a number on me. As he sort of rubs up against his neck, and you can see part of his robe part from his neck, and you can see it looks to be a scar, like claw marks going down from the side of his throat down to his chest. But he seems fine now.
Hell, father, you just had to do that to me, didn't you? You scare me half the damn death. Ah, hell.
That's a pretty cool scar.
Oh, yeah, it hurt like hell. I gotta say, it's been a long time since I've been in a scrap for a while, but if it wasn't for the doctor, imagine I would have been in a lot worse way. And he looks over and sort of gives this big grin to Dr. Faust, and he doesn't seem to respond. He just keeps his hands folded behind his back, just sort of staring off ahead.
And what would we have told all the people of Oakwell when we got back and told them that Father Winter died?
Oh, you'd have been
How do you think they would have reacted to that?
Well, I'd hope you say he died saving people's lives. I mean,
I don't think people would have very much appreciated us not coming back with you because
I'm pretty
because
sure
we
we
were
would have
supposed to
been
keep-
yelled at.
Well,
We
it
were
didn't
supposed to
happen.
keep
He's
you
damn
safe.
alive. Shut the hell up, y'all. It's fine. Damn.
Alright.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Wait,
Maybe
how many did you kill?
I don't think I killed anything, Clyde. I was protecting people. I'm sorry. I guess that ain't really much of a hero story. Oh.
How would you laugh, Doctor? You've got my appreciation. Thank you. Keeping this old man alive.
Yes. Well. As he looks, you see Dr. Faust's head sort of scan around a lot. Seems to focus on Elmon, who matches his gaze. And then with sort of a nod, you see the doctor sort of bow a moment. If you'll excuse me, there is more work to be done. More injured to tend to. As he simply turns and walks away without much of another word.
Hell
insight
wait,
check
father.
Sure. Give me an insight check.
I know it's gonna be difficult as fucking hell, but I'm gonna do it anyway because of who I
You do
am.
have inspiration.
Yeah, let's use it for stuff that I actually care about failing.
You just hear him under his breath say so many corpses to eat as he walks outside.
Yep. Samantha, it's sort of strange. You've only known this man for quite some time. You've never seen his face. You've never really seen his expressions. You can only sort of discern his demeanor by his voice. And usually when you're talking to him, he's pretty excited. Last time he talked to you guys, although he was quite hopeful, he still had an air of intrigue about him, always wondering what you're going to learn over in Stroma, hopeful that the plans he gave you would suffice, that his advice and his knowledge would help you. And that you've returned successful, alive, possibly due to his teachings and what he told you about the Grey Bite. He's definitely oddly quiet.
Well, I suppose, what should we head back tomorrow?
I mean, as much as I'm loving staying here, really loving staying here, yeah, honestly, I think getting out of this town for a little bit and going back to Oakwell might do us some good. You're right. I think people might be mad if we linger a little too long here.
Yeah, I don't think they'd appreciate it.
I'm gonna walk over to this warden and whisper really, really quietly. Are all of our horses okay? Especially Samantha's?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Where we left horses here. Were there any dead horses in the fight?
I saw the father had a bunch of horses with him. I think they're all alive.
Oh, thank God.
But which one, Clyde? Which one do you think?
Yeah, I need a little bit just get some supplies for the trek back and everything. And Samantha, can I talk to you after all this?
I'm always happy to talk to you, Gregory. Of course.
Oh, good. Yeah. Are we? I'm sorry. Are we supposed to go?
Alright, let's go, Father Winter.
You're free to stay in Moston as long as you wish, though.
I
It seems...
I think, Elmon, I think he's asking if we're dismissed from your presence.
Yes, you actually see him smile for the first time as he sort of like leans on his staff. Yes, you are dismissed.
Thank you for everything. I'm glad to see all your folk doing all right.
It was all thanks to you.
Put my arm around Father Winter, walking out. So tell me about Father Ship.
Father shit. I mean, I was a father once in my life. I sired a son, but are you talking about life in the cloth?
Well, you know, Father Ship in Oakville.
Father Shep, not Father Ship.
Oh, Father Shep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a nice old man. You know, he's a bit achy, and his old bones are starting to... I mean, he doesn't get up and around too much. Spends most of his time in the Heartwood Sanctum, but he's a good man, yeah. Why, you thinking of visiting the church sometime? I'm sure he'd love it.
They told me that I'm supposed to go to Father Ship, because he knows Sylvanus, and, yeah. They said I need a religion.
Oh, well, it's always important to hold the gods in your heart, Clyde, and if you find connection to Sylvanus, above all else, then more power to you. Father Shep would have many a lesson to teach you. Especially with your... Seems like you spend a lot of time in the woods, son. I think you and him have a lot to talk about together.
Right. So where did you get hit, right? So was it over there by the shop, or was it here by the inn?
Where did I get hit?
Yeah, you know, like scratched.
Oh, it was, I remember being by the gates, helping people, and then one of these things came out of nowhere, put its claws in my neck and hurt like something hell, got real cold, and then I woke up in the doctor's lab.
Oh,
I don't recall where.
The big bad guy beat me.
Beat you? Son, I'm sorry to hear that. You alright?
Oh, it's fine. Gregory picked me up.
Yeah, he does that. He's quite a lifesaver, that man.
That's true.
Assuming everyone starts walking out.
Me and Winter, we were walking the whole time. I was pointing in the village while I was walking through it.
I stay behind.
Ooh.
Ah, fuck. I wanted to stay behind too.
Everybody stays behind.
Nobody can have secrets. All play together. Everyone be open what the fuck you're doing. Okay, so Luna and Persephone are staying behind. Are you staying behind, Samantha?
I have not moved.
Everybody just sits there staring at each other. Go away. Go. Shoot. Go.
You see Elmon begin to turn away, going back to his desk before he stops and realizes there's lingering presence here.
Stay.
3 lovely ladies.
Is there more you need from me?
I did have a bit of a personal request. Mostly just to sate my curiosity. I know there's bad history with what I'm about to ask you, and hopefully what we've accomplished here can kind of ease any concerns you may have with telling me, but do you believe you could tell me what you told Oakwell before what happened to... what's his fucking name? The one guy that died. What's his son's name again? I forgot.
Logan Autumnwood's father?
Autumnwood.
Why don't you fucking people ask these things while I'm around? God damn it.
Well, maybe
I didn't want to
let's
ask
find
you
out
because
later.
I didn't want to ask him while Gregory was around because I feel like Gregory
He
kind
would
of freak out.
roleplay.
I murder everybody again.
Even me?
I'll tell Gregory later. I just didn't want him to get all
So-
emotional with Father Winter.
You want to know what information I imparted upon the leader of your village, or your town, rather, at the time?
I don't think any of us are actually from Oakwell that are here.
All three of us are outsiders.
I have some connection to Autumnwood that would sound really complicated and kind of crazy if I told you, but basically, I have a connection.
Well, if it's the information I imparted upon them, the one that caused this village so much trouble, it was that I discovered just who exactly had planned his death.
It was his son, wasn't it?
It's not an individual, at least not one by himself. Long ago in Illyria, there is, or was, I fear, for the present, a band of, well, the only word for them are assassins. They're often known as being shady traders. Those who smuggle goods across the Great Hot Basin, those who take the mountains to get to Nemobia, and across what used to be Illyria, although now with the revolution. Many known as Tyrion. They're known as Atlas Black, and they have been a poison in Illyria for quite some time. A poison that has made its way across the entirety of Hearth, that nestles in the farthest corners and in the darkest places. They act as one body, as their own government of sorts, to change the world around them through dark and heinous actions. Our town of Oakwell is a bustling place, and it was led by a strong leader. I believe Atlas Black did not want them to grow any further, and perhaps this Autumnwood knew something that they did not want spreading. And so, on the night of a festival, he was found in his home, his children locked away in their rooms. And Lord Autumnwood sat in his chair, with his head in his lap. It's a sign, a common one, among Atlas Black. Kill a man and leave him where he is most comfortable. I believe it is their own strange and twisted way of worshipping the Raven Queen. I told Oakwell of this, using the information I knew of them, and I believe word had reached this Atlas Black. And so they poisoned my village. And among the many who died, I stood among them. Although now, barely, as you see him continuing to lean on his staff with most of his strength now, as he's been standing and moving and falling and getting a fright in him for quite some time now, and it seems like his strength is beginning to wane.
Thank you for telling me.
I feel I can trust you now.
I turned to Samantha and Persephone, gesture towards him, see if they had any questions before I just start walking away.
What of the information I asked in regards to Luna?
Just as Luna walks away.
What?
Sorry, what?
20 passive perception?
I know she was still here. I said it on purpose.
You see him just sort of look you over for a moment before his brow raises in realization. I'm still digging for that information. It's... Nothing quite stands out about what you've given me, but time will tell. I've sent birds across the land. Hopefully, something will turn up.
It seemed as though you had a moment of recognition amidst your moments of fear, seeing the maw of hunger. If something strikes you, do not hesitate to send word.
I will do what I can. The name just sounds so familiar. Perhaps in an old tale or something, but I will continue to dig. Every glimmer of information is worth its weight in gold.
That you are quite correct. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure dealing with you, Elmon, as she just extends a hand to him.
You see him look at your hand for a moment and then very carefully, very gingerly extends this thin and bony hand to yours. And very carefully tries to grasp it. You can feel like, even without really squeezing or even trying to hold his own, you can just feel how, you can almost feel the bones creaking against your own as he is just not in a good way.
I just take his hand very gently and just... Oh god, Jesus, why would you do that? You know that would fuck me up as I'm trying to say the thing. Take his hand very gently. Just give it a single shake and just file away all cards that I have on him and turn around to leave.
Yeah, Samantha's doing that. Persephone is going through her bag. My father used to tell me that nobility is born with the honor to hold the peace and protection of their people in their hands. As such, they're prone to carrying their mistakes like great weights upon their backs, believing it would make them stronger. And she pulls out a small vial of a cloudy white elixir. But I found that you become stronger by letting your past misgivings go and rising above them. The first being forgiveness for being imperfect. I thought it may be easier to take that step without a constant reminder of a time where you tripped. And I hold out my sacrosanct drop to him.
He takes it very gingerly in his hand. It's warm. What exactly is this?
It's called sacrosanct drought. I made it with this plant called Liscus. It used to grow on stroma. The elixir itself is already supposed to have medicinal properties, but Liscus is more than just that. It has a way of enhancing it, and I thought maybe this could cure your ailment.
I must say, all the elves I've seen pass through this village, why is it your eyes are the kindest, and your voice is the warmest? You are strange, Persephone. But you are welcome, strange. As he gives you just a gentle, weak smile.
I just smile back and turn around, and I see myself out.
As one by one the party begins to make their way out of the chamber back into Moston, where you can see where the rest of you begin to join. You can hear something of a conversation going on outside. You just hear the soft and dull sighing as this other voice, energetic, is sort of picking up next to it. Oh, son, you can't just slope your shoulders all day. You're gonna stay that way. Oh, they've always been that way. Greg, is this a new friend of yours here?
Peleus!
Yeah, that's Peleus. Actually, survivor from the island, if you can believe that.
Well, hell, you didn't just save the people of Mobia, you even brought one of them back who managed to live on an island of death? Goddamn. Peleus, you the lucky man, or are you a survivor? As he pats him hard on the shoulder and you see Peleus kind of wince.
Oh, be gentle with him. He's fragile.
I'm very fragile.
Gregory, why are you standing in a hole?
I think I'm stuck.
Do I need to
Come
use
here,
my
come
magic
on,
to
I'll
help?
get you out. Come on. Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Clyde, give yourself some DM inspiration.
This is the role playing I live for. This right here, top tier. Fucking love this shit.
That was a big hole. Oh,
All right then. Well, so Greg, you say you got some things in town you need to get. Some supplies?
I mostly just need to talk to Samantha.
Oh.
Shouldn't take long.
Certainly, yeah.
Father Winter, are all the horses okay?
Oh yeah. They're kept back by the crystal place. God, I always forget the name of it.
Like especially
Spirit
Samantha's?
respite?
Yeah, that one. I almost kind of want to say it's respite, but I guess I don't know my words too well. But
It's okay. Words are hard for me too.
yeah, but I don't know. Seem like horses.
I mean, how fast you talk.
Well, if you need some alone time, Greg, we're gonna round up the horses. Whenever you're ready to go.
Bring them to the inn. We should probably spend the night. I mean, isn't it in the late evening, afternoon?
Took us a
Didn't
day
we
to
get
get
up in the
here.
morning?
Looks like you got here about. I spent some time in that chamber for a while. Took me some time to find you. I think it's about mid-afternoon now.
Oh, we
Sounds
should
like
at
plenty
least
of time
eat
for me to
then,
run some
probably.
errands.
Yeah.
Oh, did we camp out in the woods?
Yeah, you guys, it was a day travel to get basically from the shore to Mosden. You guys spent some time out in the woods.
So just wrap my arm around Father Winter. So tell me about this religion thing.
Clyde
Well,
walks
I'll
off.
tell you,
Just
Clay.
walk away.
Clyde.
Clade, is it?
Clade.
Clade?
Well, I want to say it's Clade and Marty. As spent some time talking to you, Clyde, just sort of breaking down the basics of religion, probably running into the same walls that the rest of the party has, although seemingly dealing with it with a bit more patience. He's had to introduce others to the cloth and the light of the gods many times, giving you a basic understanding of the 9 divine and what they represent. As some people are running errands across town.
I'm just
And
hanging
Gregory?
out in front of Big Man's house, waiting for Samantha to show back up, as it seems like everybody just sort of stayed.
So you decide yet, Lou?
Good setup. The reason I'm hesitant about what we talked about is because I grew up on the streets for a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know drugs have a way of finding their way to the children that are on the street.
Mm.
And it's very addictive and it is very dangerous, and I have no desire for that to happen to them. I'm already pretty sure that's probably going to happen from another source, but I do not want to contribute to that source. So if your fence can ensure that it's going to find its way to, I guess, adults that make their own decisions, then
yeah, that waste their lives away.
I would be willing to give you that if I could get that promise.
Break my teeth. Yeah, I think I know someone in Crossway that's a good person. That's good about that.
But I should also probably not give it to you in the middle of the street in the broad daylight.
Yeah, right.
Here, sir, here's your drugs.
Why, thank you! And here is your money for the drugs!
Ah, yes, beautiful, beautiful drug money. Let me smell it.
And Sherry and Slight pokes his head out of his shop.
Well, let me just make sure the drugs are real.
Wait, did we get the drug money?
Yes, those are some fine drugs they are.
Oh, would you like some, Warden?
Because I guess me and Persephone also come stepping out after Luna.
I got a lot. Oh, okay, that sounds fun. Okay, never mind. X that. That was a big X. That's a big red X right there.
What happened to Clyde and Father Winter?
Maybe Father Winter's distracting Clyde with a really long conversation about religion.
Distracted? I'd like to think enlightened.
Both. Both is a good answer.
Oh, Luna. Just to sort of clear the air, I'm sure you heard. Yeah, whilst I had not a position of power, just a decent weight to my argument when I was negotiating with Elmon before we left. My addendum to our deal was that he was to look into your matters for us. I figured his reach was far longer and more persistent than ours, so if something turns up, hopefully it'll be useful. If not, well, it didn't really cost us anything.
Good damn idea. Sure thought of that.
You see a slight smile crack on not Samantha, Luna's face before he goes away. Thank you, Samantha. You didn't have to do that.
I know. And you get a slight smile on her face back. Now, Gregory, you wanted to speak?
Yeah,
Take off my negotiation glasses.
I've been meaning to talk to you on the way back, but I don't know. I was dead asleep. Every time I got some time, it seemed like Clyde was asking about what good meant. I don't know. But I did want to talk to you before we left here. Maybe I'm on. I don't know. It's about the whole, snake thing. I don't know. I mean, I don't really. Yeah, I don't really care if Luna's here, but I don't know. That's.
I understand. All right. And she just starts walking off.
Oh. All right. It just take a bit.
Or follow, because he said he doesn't care if Luna's there, so I want to know.
Slipper the tongue.
Oh, okay, bye Luna too, I guess.
While they're going off, I'm gonna ask Haley if he wants to run errands with me.
I suppose so. Well,
I guess, but I don't really know who Aaron is.
I don't know what they sell in Mobia.
It's okay. We're gonna walk around. We're gonna learn.
As I drag him along with me. But we don't have to go. We don't have to roleplay that.
I know. He's gonna follow you around, picking up whatever you need to go buy, asking lots of questions, and every so often he'll ask if he can buy something, and he'll reach into basically the remnants, a torn coin pouch, and just pull out this big fistful of gold and just sort of splay it out on the table. And pay too much for things unless you stop him.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop him because I know what that's like. I paid too much for things once. I'm not gonna let him.
I've only read in stories about candy. Thought maybe I would buy a piece.
Oh, so wholesome.
Okay.
Seems like a saltwater taffy kind of guy.
Samantha,
No, he buys the shitty stuff. He buys black licorice or bitter honey.
Oh, Luna. Sure. I guess that makes sense. Alright, just come a bit closer, alright? So
great.
Just kind of look around for a little bit, and then just for a super brief moment, without dropping my disguise, but using my my bonus action to invoke my gift, just kind of survey my surroundings very quickly before ending that, just to see who's around, to see if the coast is clear, everyone's nearby. Just trying to talk somewhere that seems quiet.
Sure, you can probably duck around behind one of the buildings, or even so, there's a lot of life that walks along the docks of these places connecting the buildings and the hills. You could easily drop beneath one of them, one of the more dirtier, muddier parts of the village, but there's isolation down there.
Samantha, after not seeing this disguise after so long, I just realized that I much prefer the snakes.
Really?
Yeah.
That warms my heart.
Oh, all right.
That warms my cold snake heart because I'm cold blooded.
I don't really know where to start because, I mean,
I know you are deep of voice, and that voice carries, Gregory, but I'm going to need you to do your best to be quiet.
yeah. Yeah. You want to. I don't really know how much you told everybody. I mean, the whole T thing is all. Everybody knows that, but, I mean, you want to fill it in, or should I just. I don't. Luna ain't gonna make much sense if I just start.
So if there's secrets that I don't know about, but you know about, I'm hurt.
Well, Gregory did save my life and house and heal me for months before I ever met you. No offense, Luna, but I am bringing you into the fold now as I fill Luna in.
Filled in.
You've been filled in.
I mean, I'll do it, but I figured.
No, you fucking won't.
Yeah.
7 hours later.
Yeah, so.
Hyper condensed version.
The hyper condensed version was an hour-long talk.
Yeah, we've got a princess or something with us, and I mean, we talked about getting this all done with before moving on. I mean, the ones near me are safe now. I think the gods and I don't know. It would feel weird to just go back and just do nothing. So, if you want, I don't want really wait anymore. Are you ready to, go sail? If your sister's still out there, right? We still need to find her. We need to, solve this also.
The problem is, Gregory, the White Sands are quite expansive. And trust me, this issue weighs on my heart and mind every waking moment, which for me is all the time. So, I did not plan to just simply go back to Oakwell. No, I will be riding south to Cradle Keep to gather information, reach out to the few contacts that I know I still have in that place, and try to gather information. We cannot go stumbling into the desert blind, as large as it is.
Oprah, you want me to go with you or something?
I think you should stay in Oakville with your siblings. I'll go with you, Samantha.
I think that'll be fine. I would hate to see the look on the face of anyone that tried to bother us. You do not mind the company of my, recruits, do you, Luna?
What was the name again? Meritooth and the other one. I feel like the one that I actually liked.
She kind of gestures at Gregory.
The goblins.
Timber.
Oh, Timbermon.
That's right. Indeed.
Corpse 1, Corpse 2.
They should hopefully still be alive and have gathered a bit more information on the Embergrin. I know that they were looking to potentially be a problem down south. And, well, like Oman said, information is power. So, Luna, by all means, if you wish to accompany me down to Cradle Keep, well, I do not see any good reason why you wouldn't be able to. It is a far journey, but I would feel safer with you by my side.
How long y'all gonna be gone then?
As I pull out my map.
You know, it's almost as long a distance to get to Cradle Keep as it is to get to Broken Ridge. And with following the path, especially if you guys both go on horseback, trying to make it the quickest route possible, it'd take you guys, let's see, probably about 20 days in total. If you're riding on horseback on the trail, it might be cutting in half. Could take about maybe 10 days.
15 or so days, give or take. I need to go there, and it'll take me some time to write out the messages I need to. I'll need to encode them as well, and that will be problematic. But once that's done, I can send those out and try to research what it is we were dealing with on Stroma. Cradle Keep being the wealth of knowledge that it is, I would be remiss to go there simply for my own concerns. There are a few words that creature said that still ring true for me, that regardless of what happens in the White Sands, could prove to be problematic for a lot more people.
Alright. I guess I could try talking to the church too, and I mean they got people all over the place. They probably know something.
Sure. And if you find yourself feeling, I do not know, well, I'm sure you'll keep yourself busy. I'm sure Nina, Sam, I missed you so much. Of course, well, Joey has his new companion, if I recall correctly, doesn't he?
Yeah. But look, Samantha, I want to get this done. You have my word. I don't want to sit and wait. As soon as you know what we need to do, we need to go do it, right? I've already made you wait long enough. It hurt me every damn day that, I mean, the other side of the world to you.
I want nothing more than to take back what is mine, Gregory. I hope my passion in retrieving something as simple as a horse proves evident to that. But the problem is, what I am dealing with is something that has supplanted an entire government. This is not just a horse, and is not simple. And I do not want to stumble into the desert blind, and whilst having you at my side, I do not know what allies remain there. Who will answer my call? These things worry me and keep me from acting. I must have answers.
Did you ask Mr. Elmon? I mean, it's a ways away, but he might know something. Seems like he's all about figuring things out.
He would not know the right people to contact, that I can guarantee you.
I mean, it's worth a shot, right? If he knows anything. I mean, this kingdom got overthrown. It seems like bad news, right?
The problem with that is the fact of how quiet it actually was. This was not an invasion. This was not armies of troops storming down castles. This was... You can see her pause for a moment and her eyes start to water. Blades in the night. And I do not think a man like Elmon wants to get involved with people like Atlas Black. or the Order of Nevermore.
Or that Nevermore than the people that attacked you and your sister?
Those are the ones we made our deals with and have betrayed us, yes.
They're also the ones that took the life of Logan's father. Let's just fill Gary in on that. We don't need to RP that.
Oh, was that what y'all were talking about? I was actually sort of gonna want to ask him myself, but knowing that Samantha's doing a thing, then I can obviously wait.
Seems like maybe person Samantha is going after, and the person that did this is one and the same. So, two birds with one stone.
I thought,
I do not
were they
know.
humans that attacked you, Samantha? I thought it was other Yonti.
It was not other Yonti. And she says that with just a very definitive point to it. No, the Order of Nevermore is quite diverse, I guess.
So wait, who's the Atlas Black? Are they the same people?
That I do not know.
Then what was the Atlas Black? Who was that you said?
Those are the people that poisoned Elmon, caused the horrible massacre here. Though these two organizations do not seem that dissimilar, and they both have a reverence to the Raven Queen.
He did say that Atlas Black in that group has spread quite significantly.
But Atlas Black ain't the Nevermores, right?
I actually do not know.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Y'all go do your thing.
Just turn the face of worry.
I'll try to look into that while y'all are gone. I'm sure I can figure out something, right? Yeah, I hold you up too long. We should probably get back to this.
Yes, of course.
Right. After some time gathering supplies, Persephone showing Peleus around an actual... It's a Mobian village, a Mobian settlement, but it has lots of elven influences. It's probably a soft introduction to this culture. And Clyde and Father Winter spending quite some time, possibly along with Javen, just talking about religion. Both Father Winter and Javen probably preaching the word of Avandra and trying to get Clyde to understand what it means to revere the gods. Not to serve them, but to learn from them. Like the way you learn from your friends and how you use that to guide your lives and make yourself into a better person. Eventually, all your things are gathered. And with Father Winter in tow, as well as a new friend, the Valiant Seven make their way off east through the Elder Bark. A very gentle and calm travel. The Elder Bark is often known for its dangers, why some, especially inexperienced adventurers, are advised to stick to the road and not go through the wilderness. But maybe it's just the end of this plague. The forest still seems to be reeling from it. And even for now, even the predators of this place, the vicious creatures like owl bears that would probably pop out of the woods to attack a traveler, have found peace for a moment. There is serenity in the Elder Bark, and it carries with you all the way back to the gates of Oakwell, where you find yourselves once again home. And that is where we will end our session tonight.
We don't want to roleplay
No,
for
no.
another 17 hours.
Everybody dies.
I only have 4 hours of roleplay left, guys.
Oh god.
Yeah, let's just go till 1 in the morning.
I
It's
love
fine. It's
Oakwell
only
so
a
fucking much. I really do.
It's only Thursday. I mean, people don't need to go to work.
It feels like
Cool.
such a great, like, fucking fantasy adventure, like, just baby town. It's so wonderful. I love it. I love this little place. You know all the people. Ah, I feel so sentimental being back here. God damn it.
It's been a really long time.
Push the emotions down.
Make the emotions louder.
City.
Emotion music gets very loud.
Even that weird fucking queen fucker with his weird pastries and Barga with their weird taste in men and oh, there's so many wonderful people here at Oakwell, guys.
Yeah, but you know, fuck Ava.
Even Ava with her weird
Lannister
rivalry
comes
with
in,
Persephone.
a gas
It's great.
earthquake, and fucking destroys the entire city.
And you are left with one sight. As the guards usher you in past the walls, the gates open, and some of you feel that sense of relief, seeing these tall walls and hearing the sounds of life within. It seems like people are in very good spirits. Just highly good, like as if something wonderful has just happened. But what has happened in Oakwell? What has brought their spirits so high? Unless they've heard word of your accomplishments breeding down this plague? You'll have to find out in the next session, next Thursday.
Indeed, as we will return to Oakwell and A Song of Rapture next Thursday in March, actually, March 7th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Quick reminder that there is no game of The Expanse this Sunday, as Brendan needs to pull the plugs together and straighten everything out and set up the new direction that we will be launching our wonderful Outriders. And you get to find out where that will be on the 10th, the following Sunday at our usual time, 5 o'clock. But do not worry, you won't have to wait all the way until the 7th to get more D&D from Liner Gaming. No, we will be back the 5th of March with Kingdoms of the South on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern as well. So be sure to be there and get your daily, well, semi-weekly, I don't know, come and get D&D. Enjoy our wonderful game if you enjoy it. And if you're behind, there are plenty of VODs both here and on the YouTube channel, to which there is a link below the channel video. So be sure to check out those if you want to catch up or see some of the things that happened in the past. Other than that, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Arts and Coffee. Available at artsandcoffee.com. You can go ahead and pick up some coffee from them. Wonderful flavors and blends, both caffeinated and decaf, of course. And you can use promo code LION10 to get yourself a sweet discount and help support the channel. Oh no, what happened to the wonderful music? RIP. I also do want to shout out One by One for the bits and the resub, along with Johnny Thunder and Basemoto, along with Danny Kiliote 1973. Thank you so much for following, and I hope to see you again on future streams. That's all I got for you, folks. As always, may your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Bye, y'all.
Dudley, it doesn't matter. This man was an honorable man. He deserves a proper burial.